Live from New York. It's a show that's back from ping pong and no longer speaking to Greg Jennings. So that's one issue that we're going to have throughout the show.
Yeah.
And the other issue is something we flirted with yesterday and was brought to, you really brought it to the forefront.
Yeah.
That with the Chiefs.
This isn't about the Chiefs.
I mean,
about
it's a
your
little bit.
Patriots take.
No, a little bit of like a lot of the Chiefs' success has been the thrust of the show. And that seat has carried a lot of the editorial burden.
Yeah.
Which now you've relinquished. And that maybe it's someone else's turn to take the crown.
We trading seats?
I think not permanently, but I'd like to give it a run.
Let's see how you
That
do.
if I win the Super Bowl,
Well, when you win the Super Bowl, you're about to be a dynasty.
But like the questions all have to come to me. I have to be ready to shoot.
Okay.
Wow. Really?
I have to be ready to shoot.
All right, do you have a script for me that other people have spent all day preparing?
First of all, I write the script.
Okay.
I don't. If you see a pun, I don't write it.
Can I have script?
That's that.
You can have my watch.
Ooh.
There you go. Hold on.
This isn't up.
I got to make my hair look like a nerd. Wait a second.
Not true.
Thank you. All right. How does
Wow,
it look,
get
Brew?
some highlights.
Oh my goodness.
The hair looks good.
Thanks,
Next thing
Brew.
you know?
Hold on. I've got some of his pomade, too.
I
there
love
we
it.
go. Oh, wow. What a look. All right.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Y'all are really going all
Hold on a
in.
second. I'm gonna get my arm lifted from a guy who I owe $50,000 to.
Oh, hey! Hey! That's not what happened. That's not any way to start this.
Wow, all by myself,
There we go.
bro.
Okay.
Nice over
All right. Today on the show,
like-
Patriots moving through the door of destiny.
Wow.
Is it time to actually start talking Super Bowl? I mean, we were talking dynasty yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Meanwhile, Cowboys, Lions tomorrow night. Can Dallas track down the struggling Eagles? And finally, the best segment in all of sports.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Still my tears. Also, I'm Nick Wright alongside Chris Broussard. Kevin Wilds, did you just drink my coffee?
Uh-oh.
That one wasn't planned.
Nice
KW,
watch,
how's it feel over there?
I like that watch.
It feels a little lonely, to be honest with you, but I like it. I'm gonna give it my all.
All right, we start with Super Bowl odds.
I don't mean to interject, but go ahead.
Patriots currently the number 1 seed in the AFC. They've beaten the Bills. They play them again after their bye, but are behind them in the Super Bowl odds, which look like this: Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Bills, Eagles, and finally, the 11-win Patriots, which makes no sense because they have the most wins, and obviously they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Great point.
KW, are you ready to claim somehow a softer claim than you made yesterday when you said they are in the midst of a dynasty, that they are going to win this year's Super Bowl?
What's all this?
I don't know. I don't quite know how to sit. I don't quite know how to sit. I'm willing to do that today. And Brew, it's largely just the data. Okay? I'm going to show you 1, 2, 3 full screens that explain my position perfectly. And I'm not going to go through the history of the Patriots, although when I sit in the seat, I want to start with 2001 and just go through year by year. Number one, I'm really trying to convince you. You're just there for the hijinks.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
Quarterback.
All right.
We know that Drake May is having a phenomenal year. I think we can show the graphic to you. Leading the NFL in passer rating, the youngest since the merger. Both Drake May and Dan Marino are 23. Drake May has a slightly better passer rating, again, leading the entire league. Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl and lost. We don't know what Drake May is going to do yet. And again, I have seen this story play out through my Patriots fandom. So we looked at the times the Patriots went to the Super Bowl. Our winning percentage, 792. This year, we are higher. Points, 26. This year, we are higher. Defense, 17. This year, we're a little bit lower, but higher. Points per game differential, 8.8, 8.5. How about teams that have won 10 straight games? Okay, when the Patriots have won 10 straight games, twice we went to the Super Bowl, once we went to the AFC Championship game. So the question is this. I have one more because there's one more kind of fly in the ointment. And this is the most fascinating one. the easiest schedule, I think, is a fair retort because we have been playing a bunch of tomato cans.
Yeah.
Teams to start 11-2 or better in the last 10 years. It was the 16 Patriots, the 24 Eagles. Both of those teams won the Super Bowl. That's what we're on track to do. Now, this is really a shot at my iron sharpens iron theory.
Did those teams, sorry to interrupt,
No, go ahead,
did
'cause
those teams have the easiest schedule?
Yeah, yes. This is the
you're saying we
easiest
have the
schedule to
easiest
go
schedule.
11-2
The
or better.
easiest schedule, right, but so this year's Patriots is markedly easier than either of those teams, right? Am I
Yes.
reading it correctly? Okay.
Yes, but
Well, look,
the
you see it,
49ers
yeah.
have an even easier
Got it.
schedule, but they're not
Got it.
they're
11-2.
not on there. So this is really a shot brew at my iron sharpens iron. This graphic proves or shows that like you can get used to winning. And it's almost like the opposite of what the Texans are going through. Like, ooh, the Texans are going through a murderer's
good,
row,
right. That's a good point.
and they're supposed to be iron sharpens iron, but maybe they're getting used to losing. So today, although I was forced into it a little bit, I am changing my pick, which is also better editorially for the show, from the Ravens to the Patriots.
And also your pick of who's going to win the Super Bowl.
I would like to draw that out in an additional segment.
See, because my concern
But
sitting
yes.
in this seat with switching a pick, picking the Patriots win the Super Bowl is very simple. They didn't win last year's.
Yeah,
So I
and
just
that
don't
seat
understand.
automatically
I don't
goes
get
with the
it. Like
winner.
they didn't win. They're not the defending champs. So
That is a
maybe
fair
you can
point.
convince me. I don't know how they're
How
going
does
to
Thunder
be
look? How does
the
Thunder-
champs.
let's pull a Thunder
They only
record
won
up.
4 games, in
Yeah,
fact.
yeah, exactly.
Wilds, here's what I'll give you. The Patriots have as great a chance of winning the AFC as anybody.
You know what? I'll take that.
If the Chiefs,
not allowed to?
if
You're
the
not allowed to
Chiefs,
do
How dare you?
if the Chiefs make the playoffs, they will be the favorite in the AFC because they will be hot, most likely coming
Yeah.
off
Yes.
5 straight wins, and obviously the experience factor. But if they are not there, why not the Patriots? Every other team, now Buffalo, you got Josh Allen to deal
Yes.
with.
That's
but
it.
every other quarterback
Has
will
question
be
marks.
unproven. So Drake May, that's the knock on him, as great a season as he's having. He's unproven in the playoffs. Bo Nix, unproven. Trevor Lawrence,
Unproven.
mediocre,
Won a playoff game
unproven, mediocre. Obviously, Daniel Jones, just a mediocre quarterback,
And he also has a
somewhat
broken
unproven.
leg.
Yeah, and a broken leg, right. CJ Stroud has been pretty good in the playoffs, but at this point, we're starting to wonder how good really is CJ? Is he a great quarterback? Obviously, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, whoever wins AFC North, they, if Baltimore gets on a roll, maybe, but Lamar has had struggles
I'd be
in the
worried about
playoffs.
Lamar.
Yeah, if they get on a roll, but they could make the playoffs and not be on a roll. And then, they could play the same way and maybe make the playoffs, and then you're not worried about
Correct.
it. Ironically, the team that, if they got in the playoffs, and I don't think they will outside of Kansas City, that I think would be concerning would be Cincinnati. If they got in, they will have gone on a heck of a win
Yeah.
streak, and Joe Burrow obviously is proven. That would be the one team that I'd worry about. The Chargers, I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs.
Correct.
And if they do, Herbert's been horrible in the
Excellent.
playoffs. So, yeah, why not the Patriots?
Can I throw I don't like it over here.
No, well, hold on. Well, I haven't been able to do any
I
of
still like
you.
it.
We can trade in a minute.
You
Can
don't look comfortable.
I would
No, I'm not
like to.
comfortable.
I
I
would
feel
like to
uncomfortable.
Nick
be.
looks comfortable.
I would like to be you
Actively
for a moment.
uncomfortable.
But I
Because
would
listen.
like you to do your hair regular.
No. I like this is my new look. I don't
That
even. I
doesn't
can't
look
even do
any
it.
different.
It's a side part, like you. So listen, everybody knows I'm a Drake May guy. I'm beloved in New England. People know this so much, and so I was doing what I thought was my job today, which is just bouncing around Reddit looking for memes, and I did. I
have one meme up that hurt your feelings.
And
listen,
What is
you
yours?
didn't even bring up the fact they might have the best punt returner in the league.
Well, I didn't have time.
We saw that Monday night. So, I mean, this is as I'm regularly on Patriots Reddit finding stuff for the show.
Jones
So here is my question. I have twofold. First question to you is this. Do you think the Broncos are going to beat the Raiders?
Yes.
Okay. Then all the 11-2, 10-game winning streak stuff applies to them.
I know.
They also have a second-year quarterback. Now, I know you, in that seat, don't like Bo Nix.
I know.
But the data on Bo Nix last year was stronger than the data on Drake May. Last year, when he had all last year. And this year, his numbers are better than we talk about him because
Bo Nix's.
Bo Nix.
Sure, but they're not close to
No, they're not close to Drake
May's.
May's. But the Patriots defense is not close to the Broncos.
True.
And then here would be the other reason I would pump the brakes a bit. I thought the Patriots should hire Mike Vrabel. I really like Mike Vrabel. It is also true that we have seen Mike Vrabel overachieve in regular seasons, have an 11-win team win a division, and lose his first home playoff game. We have seen Mike Vrabel have the #1 seed in the conference, to the surprise of everyone, and lose his first home playoff game. So everything Mike Vrabel has done thus far this year to set the culture, to get the team turned around, I think he's great. And I don't think he's like a bad playoff coach.
No.
But we have seen...
and he hasn't had a quarterback like Drake May. He had Ryan Tannehill.
100%. Ryan Tannehill often...
/ Jacoby
Brissett. I think we have seen the Mike Vrabel teams out-execute maybe more talented but more poorly coached teams in the regular season to the tune of gaudy regular season records, and then come the postseason, when the talents are closer to equal, the team not play to its seed, and we've seen it multiple times. So that would be a bit of a concern.
He had one. He lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
And then the next year, he was an 11-win team with a home playoff game and lost his first one. And the next year was a 12-win team that had the bye and the #1 seed and lost a home playoff game. This is the next 2 years. That is what happened.
That's a lot to deal with.
You're putting stock in that?
No, but I'm just wondering how it's hitting you.
That Drake May is twice as good as Ryan Tannehill.
I agree.
That's that. All right, again, I don't like it over.
You want to trade back?
Yeah, I want to be back in jokes. Too much of a
He was
burden on
literally sitting like this the whole time.
Feels like a lot.
I am going to keep the watch.
No, you have to. There's your watch.
I'll keep the watch.
You can. I gave your pomade back. It's over there.
I don't put pomade on during the program. All right, we're moving from the Super Bowl winning Patriots to two teams that are 500. Chiefs and the Ravens both share the same Super Bowl odds. KC hosts the Texans. The Ravens host the Steelers. Here's some playoff scenarios via Dusty and the Athletic Playoff Predictor. This is a brand new graphic we have. All right, so right now, bear with me. Right now, the Chiefs have a 37% chance to make the playoffs entering the game. If they win, it's up to 51%. If they lose, it's down to 11. Baltimore, 64% right now. With a win, it's 76. With a loss, it's 30%. Just to sort of dig into what's at stake. So the question is, who do you trust more, the Chiefs or the Ravens, to get their season back on track?
Well, look, as much as it pains me to say this,
bro,
the Chiefs are the better team.
Oh my God!
I'm nothing if not objective.
Now the show's not working.
I gotta tell the truth. The Chiefs are the better team. They've proven it. How many times? They've beaten them the last 3 times they played.
Yeah.
6 out of the last 7 times they played. I think that might even go back. That's the beginning of Mahomes' career. And Lamar as well. So they've proven they're the better team. Obviously, Mahomes is having a better season. Even though this isn't your typical Mahomesian year, it's still better than what Lamar is doing right now. So the Chiefs, and if the Chiefs make the playoffs, they will be, I firmly believe they'll be the favorite in the AFC. If the Ravens make the playoffs,
they might limp
not
in and
so
make
much, right? They could now if they go on a streak and win out, then and Lamar starts playing great again, maybe they'll be the favorite if the Chiefs are out. That said, though, and I think Nick will agree with me, the Ravens have a better chance. I'm not just the numbers. I am more confident in the Ravens making the playoffs than the Chiefs making the playoffs. Because just the path. I mean, the
Ravens are more likely
bad.
to get in. The Chiefs are more likely to do damage if they get in.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
And so here's what I feel about Baltimore, though. The defense is legitimate. I'm not worried about the 32 points they gave up to Cincinnati because in that first half, that defense was great. 4 times Cincinnati was in the red zone. 4 times they forced them to go for field goals. Once it was 1st and goal from the 2, and Baltimore stopped them.
This
So
is
the
such a wild
defense is
switch
fine.
for you now, though.
I know, but I do look. I sincerely have confidence that Lamar Jackson is going to come out of this. Now, he might not get to the point where he played early in the season, but he's going to be better than this. And even if he's better but not great, now the coaching staff has to be smart. You got Derrick Henry and the other two, Keaton, what's his name?
Keaton Mitchell.
Keaton Mitchell is running the ball pretty well. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. Like, you have a run game that you can go to if Lamar's not the old Lamar for the rest of this season. So I feel, like I said, Kansas City is a better team. I would have strong hope for my Ravens if they meet them in the playoffs. But the Ravens do have a better chance of making the playoffs.
So, I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer, and it's less about faith in Kansas City. The Ravens have not looked good once all year. The closest they've come to a game you left feeling great about was a game Lamar didn't play, the win against Chicago.
You know right.
You know what I mean? That's
and I thought they played. I mean, they blew it.
But week 1,
against
week
Buffalo,
1
they
for
looked
55
great.
minutes, they looked like the best team. Right, their high watermark of the season is the 7-minute mark of the 4th quarter of Game 1.
Right.
And then since then, I don't feel like there is a single game. The Ravens, again, the Bears game maybe, but you feel like that doesn't have Lamar, so it's such a meaningless to what they're going to be moving forward. You can hang your hat on. So the Chiefs have a lot of issues that I've talked about, and the third down stuff, the defense, the offense having extended flashes of brilliance, then extended periods of doing nothing, and they right now have 3 starting offensive linemen not practicing. 1 just went to the IR.
Not good.
Coming up against the Texans, not good. But the Chiefs do have whole games to look to from this season of that's when we showed what we could be. Now, what you could be gets you nothing, but at least it's something to hang your hat on. The Ravens, to me, and this isn't a poke at Brew at all, have been the most disappointing team in the NFL this year. As far as the preseason expectation, the lack of explanation as to why it has gone awry, the fact that they do clearly have a defense that can be competent. So why was it for the 2nd year in a row the worst defense in football for the first month and a half of the year? Lamar's mysterious decay for this month of football to where he's playing the worst football since his rookie year and statistically the worst stretch of his career. The weird disconnect between the head coach and the star quarterback about when he will and won't play, all of it to me is just season from hell stuff. So I just don't trust the Ravens at all. I don't dismiss the Bengals as a possibility purely because I don't think the Ravens are trustworthy, and I think the Steelers are wholly untrustworthy. To me, it is, I would trust basically every team right now that's ahead of Baltimore in the standings. No, the Chiefs have the same record, more than Baltimore.
Really? So Baltimore, what if they, maybe a big if, win out or go 4-1 down the stretch and look better?
That would change my opinion. Yes,
okay.
As much as I can trust any Baltimore team going into the problem for them is double fold for me, Wilds. If they were 14-3 and looked awesome, I'd go into the playoffs and be like, I don't think that's the team we're going to get because it's a team we've never gotten. So I certainly don't think if they're a team that's 9-8 and gets a playoff spot by default because the Steelers fall apart, that all of a sudden they're going to play their best football in a year. I just don't trust the Ravens.
I'm hoping it'll be the inverse. Of what
bad year and then a great playoff run.
That adversity.
Is there a scenario where they can give Lamar an extra week of rest somehow? No.
Not at this point. They need to. They have to have the attitude where they need to win out. I don't think they have to win out, but they have to have that attitude.
I know it's not the greatest analysis in the world, but I just think Lamar's hurt and he's trying to play through pain or injury or whatever. He can't push off, and everything is down. to such a dramatic degree that there's no other explanation other than being hurt. Like you can't it's what it was hamstring, knee, ankle, toe. So the whole, is it all one side?
I don't know that, to be honest with you.
They don't know if they tell us.
Well, they got the Bengals, they got Pittsburgh twice. Who else?
Show the Ravens schedule. So here would
Green
be
Bay,
here would be the hope for what you're talking about, Wilds.
Yeah.
It would be this. They beat Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and then Pittsburgh full on falls apart to where they have the division clinched by week 18. And then they're like, well, we're going to be the 4th seed no matter what. Doesn't, you know what I mean? We are just resting our guys.
Right.
That would take because the team chasing them, obviously the team they play in week 18, that would take a full-on Pittsburgh collapse.
That's very much on the board.
But that does feel on the board. So that's where.
But Baltimore also would have to beat Green Bay and New England.
Correct.
To be in that situation.
Again, we're looking for a loss. We're so good, we're trying.
You hear that, Ravens?
We're looking for a loss.
No,
we're looking to be a little bit stressed out, so I'm
Yes.
trying to be a nice guy. We don't want to win all the games. Jerry Jones, not talking about the Super Bowl yet. He is talking about the playoffs ahead of Cowboys-Lions, which is tomorrow. Here he is. Take a listen.
Was just looking 20 and 23 how Philadelphia dropped their last 7 in a row, and that was in between Super Bowl appearances, I think. So bottom line is these things get off kilter. Teams go get better just because of what's out in front of them, and teams do drop off. Our best shot, I think, is to win the division.
That might be true. The Eagles are still heavy favorites. This is their dual pass. The Eagles have Chargers, Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Commanders, while the Cowboys have the Lions again on Thursday. Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, Giants. Man, I could see it. So, are you giving the Cowboys any chance to catch the Eagles?
Leave that up for a second, because it's very simple. The Cowboys have to win 2 more games than Philadelphia does.
Yeah.
So let's just assume the Cowboys go 4-1. Because I think just saying that, if they run the table, man, it's very, very hard to run the table.
Yep.
So 4-1, though, to me, it's like, okay, go 2-1 against the Lions, Chargers, and at the Commanders, and beat the teams you're definitively supposed to beat, the Vikings and Giants. That's doable.
Yep.
Can you see Philadelphia going 2-3? That's the question. The question is that simple to me. Can you see Philadelphia losing 3 of those games? And
I see 2.
I have so little faith in the Eagles' infrastructure, even though I have so much faith in the overall talent of the roster, that I could see them winning their next 2, and then at the Commanders getting clipped with Jaden being back. That's a divisional road game. At the Bills in a game the Bills need, and then finding themselves in, oh my God, we're at home in week 18, where if we win the division, and if we lose, the Cowboys win the division.
You could start getting booed in the first quarter.
Correct. And so, that's where the more logical path would be they lose to the Chargers. They lose their 3 road games, essentially. At the Chargers, at the Commanders, at the Bills. And that's how it happens. But I think Philly's D-line is good enough to beat the Chargers alone. Like the Chargers banged up offensive line, Philly D-line, that should swing that game. I just don't trust right now, Brew, Philadelphia's ability to stave off a 2023-esque collapse.
Well, I think the chances are very slim that the Cowboys can pass them. They're not non-existent. Yeah. And I will change I think this week's game is huge. I don't think Philly has fallen off as much as you do. I feel like they're fine. You lose some games in the regular season. You have some bad performances, but they have championship mettle. They'll be fine. If they lose to the Chargers, 3 straight losses, that's when I will believe the supernatural funk is here.
Okay.
So if they lose to the Chargers, it could be worse than you point out. If they lose to the Chargers and the funk comes back, they darn near lost out 2 years ago.
Yep.
After going 10-1. So I think they could really fall off, and that would be the problem. But I expect them to beat the Chargers and then they'll be fine and they'll hold off the Cowboys.
So when I'm back in this seat, I can just tell more ridiculous stories. When I'm over there, I have to do hardcore.
You got a Reddit post?
No, I don't have one Reddit post. I was in a relationship.
Wow.
This will be good.
This will be good. This is serious.
Lean in here.
It's like early 20s. And we went on a double date.
Early 2020s?
Early 20s. I was in mid-20s. I was 20-something. And we went out on a double date with another couple who eventually got married. And I thought I was in a good relationship. And then I saw how they were interacting. I was like, oof. You guys are really in love, huh? I thought I was doing good. Wow. But I was like, we don't rock like that.
Yeah.
When you say that the Eagles are fine, the Patriots are fine, we see the Bears locker room is fine. I see how the vibes in Seattle are fine. The Rams are fine. The Eagles are not fine, man. They're not even
just
close
lost
to
to
fine.
The Carolina
but the
Panthers.
vibes, all right. How about the Bears
if
then?
the Eagles lost to the Carolina Panthers, this is what
They're not
we do
fine,
with the
is
Eagles.
what I'm saying.
We were
They're
doing
breaking
this
up.
last year. A.J. Brown's reading books on the sideline, and we think they're in trouble.
They're in trouble.
Well, so two very quick things. First one, what I thought you were going to say is the relationship between coach and quarterback that's going to be the dichotomy Monday night. Between Jim Harbaugh, who's like, I will fight and die
for the best
Justin
quarterback
Herbert,
of all time.
the best quarterback of all time, and then what has always seemed to be, a marriage of convenience between Sirianni and Hurts. I thought that's where you were going with it. Here's what I would say to you, Brew. If we were to say all of the teams in the league that are 8-4 or better, power rank them and most likely to collapse. Yeah. I think everyone would have Indy right now number one.
Yes.
Because the quarterback's got a hairline fracture.
He's got a broken leg.
And then the next two picks, I think, would probably be the two teams playing this weekend. Or
the Chargers are certainly
the Chargers, Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, again,
he's got a broken hand.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
because this is what we do with the Eagles, and it's their own doing. They brought it on themselves, but this is what we do with them.
All right. Coming up next.
I am going to need that watch back.
I know, but we'll see how much.
I feel you.
It's pretty
I'm glad
sweet.
you're keeping it. That is nice.
It was a nice gesture from you. Like Christmas present. Must win next.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. If you're hearing me, I'm going to assume you're awake. And if you aren't, because while you're snoozing, someone else might be finding your dream home. That's where Realtor.com comes in. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, that's a lot of chances to find the place you've been dreaming of. Whether you're searching for a 2-story mid-century with a pool or a little extra space with a spa-inspired bathroom, Realtor.com can help you find it today. So quit hitting that snooze button. Realtor.com isn't sleeping on finding your dream home, and neither should you. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Thank you to everyone who is writing very kind things to us about their Spotify Wrapped list of listening to the podcast so many times. We got news from Gianna that we are not #1. I had bad intel there. But we are top 100, but not right now.
No, I think we are right now.
She said no.
No, this minute.
But we are going up against like the horrible crime podcast. I don't think.
Remember when you tried to turn us into a crime podcast in your silly promo that you did every day?
That's when we probably were #1. It's time now for a segment that grows more literal by the day. Must win. Greg Jennings is here. Bears in Green Bay. Packers almost 7-point underdogs. Now, Chicago has feasted.
Packers, by the way, are almost 7-point favorites.
Packers are almost 7-point favorites.
As they should be.
Ever since Greg showed up and destroyed me in ping pong.
He did destroy you, too, from what I hear.
It was bad.
It wasn't good.
But let's keep
I was good in practice. So here's the thing. Green Bay does not give the ball up. Chicago takes the ball away. I never like leading the league in takeaways, just my own take. Greg, Coach won the last edition of Must Win, so that seat has control of the board. You can choose to pass or play.
I'm going to play.
Wow, excellent.
This is absolutely a must-win for the Green Bay Packers. When you look at this game, obviously we go to the field first and we look at the quarterback position, and the Green Bay Packers have for a long time had the best quarterback in this series for a long time. Now, with the addition of Ben Johnson at the head coach position, calling plays, being creative, using Caleb in ways to where he's not there yet, but this offense looks really good. There's a lot of buzz coming out of Chicago. Records out the window, I don't care. It's Green Bay Bears. Packers, they're at home. You get it done. You need this game. You play them in a couple weeks. It's important for both teams, yes, but it's definitely more important for you. You're in the back seat. You need to get in the driver's seat. That's what we do. Cheese heads all day. We win.
A little bit of fandom.
Next topic.
What?
We don't need to talk to these guys.
So
Yeah, we
Greg's
That wasn't
correct
quite as good as
in
your
that
ping pong play.
they play again in a couple weeks. So for neither team is this even a metaphorical must-win. It is, however, for one individual, because there's only one person involved in this series that guaranteed a split. I'm guaranteed better than a split, a sweep. And that is Ben Johnson.
He did.
It is
He
a
guaranteed
must.
a sweep?
Well, I'll bring it to you in just a moment. This is the second straight must-win for Ben Johnson because of some offseason comments. Last week, he was playing the Eagles, the team who he denigrated their beloved tush push, and his team helped him walk that walk when they not only stopped the tush push but forced a turnover on it. Ben Johnson, the day he was introduced as the head coach of the Chicago Bears, whose name came out of his mouth about beating them twice a year, listen to Ben Johnson.
To be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Well, you can't beat him twice if you don't beat him this time. It's a must-win for Ben Johnson.
No,
now,
like elements.
you can probably go ahead because, Brew,
like that, Greg.
save your
Sorry.
ammo for the next one.
It is what? Green Bay. It's a must-win for Green Bay. Here's the thing.
Okay.
All of Ben Johnson's bluster aside, it's already a successful season for the Bears. They're not S-Bob. They get into the playoffs, which they look like they'll do. It's a great season. All right, for Green Bay, I know they're the youngest team in the league for the third straight year. But you know what they also are? You know what they also are?
What?
They are a team that for the third year is going to make the playoff, third straight year. They are a team that's been knocking at that door, chipping away. Look at some of the other teams that have chipped away for a little while, and you think, oh, this is the beginning of something special. Does it look special right now in Detroit? No. The window may have closed on them. Does it look special right now in Baltimore? No. The window may have closed on them. How about Buffalo? No. It may have. It's just that if you keep knocking at the door but can't push it in, then it starts to wear on you and you can start to go the other way. So they need to show Chicago, we are the class of the division. We are the team headed to the playoffs. Thank you, Wallace, for the point.
I'm just telling you, strategically, it's good to run the anchor leg. Brew. Win.
Thank you. You did all right, Nick. That was a good try.
Next up, Bengals in Buffalo. Joe Burrow keeping playoff hopes alive. Now, Josh, get this, hasn't beaten Joe Burrow. I didn't realize this, and hasn't played that well during it. Well, two games. But look, 14 points, completion percentage, only 63, under 300 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 turnovers, and passer rating in the 70s. Nick, the board is yours.
I noted, KW,
Yeah.
that unlike last week, you did not put a prohibition on our answers.
I mean,
So, an
tread
oldie but a
carefully.
goodie.
Greg,
But this is a vintage, classic, not that rare but still important, double must win. For Buffalo, this is, if not now, when are you going to break through? The Bills, if they can't make the Super Bowl this season, and they can't win, they might not even have to go through Patrick, might not even have to go through Lamar, win this game, you don't even have to go through Joe Burrow, then it is legitimate. While I'm not ready to talk Patriot dynasty, it is legitimate to talk, did we miss our window of even being the best team in our own division without ever making a Super Bowl? So they have to start stacking quality wins. And for the Bengals, it's a literal must-win. They have to win all of their games. If they do, by the way, they'll win that division. Because the Steelers, unless you think the Steelers-Ravens are going to sweep each other, the Bengals have a really good opportunity. Your beloved athletic playoff predictor has them north of 80% to win the division if they win out, no matter what everybody else does. But if they lose, they're down just a couple percentage points. It's a true vintage double must-win.
You're in a tough spot because double must-win, kind of takes a lot of oxygen.
It's not the double must-win. Oh. All right, the Bills are making the play.
You just said their window was closing.
Okay. But beating Cincinnati is not going to reopen the window.
Losing, okay.
All right.
Go ahead, sorry.
This is a must-win for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Why'd you bring him back? I mean, you know me, I'm old school, I'm Bruto.
Yeah.
I love his talk about, if I'm healthy, I'm playing.
Yeah.
It doesn't even cross my mind to sit out a game. I'm a football player. All right, I get all that, and I get how the teammates might respect that, but this is also a business. All right, and you have an injury-prone franchise quarterback. And so why in the world did you bring him back? It's because you thought you had hope of making the playoffs. If you lose this game, your playoff hopes are over, and Joe Burrow's still going to want to play. But the morale in the locker room will be low. They have nothing to play for, and then injury is a greater possibility.
Wow.
So they need to win this game.
Wow.
Stay in the playoff race.
This is a must-win for the Buffalo Bills. Wild, you put it on the screen before we even started this. Josh Allen hasn't beaten Joe Burrow. This is an opportunity. It's laid up for you if you are the Buffalo Bills. You got your running game back on track. You're playing against an offense that is led by the passing game. Well, what does your defense do well? We stop the pass. You don't pass against the Buffalo Bills. And so if you're Joe Burrow in this happy pass attack, I don't care if your toe feels a little bit better. You're playing against our defense, and the strength of our defense is stopping the pass. Josh Allen's going to get back on track because going into the stretch of the season, you got to have great quarterback play, and you got to protect the ball better. You got the running game. Get it done. Buffalo, this is a must-win. Get it done. Appreciate that, Wild. Even though yesterday was hard for you, I appreciate you putting it down there.
The rare point to the double must win.
Thank you, KW. It was obvious.
This one, now, Greg, you're in
It's
luck.
okay.
This one is worth double. Eagles, Chargers. This is the bonus round.
It's been, I think, 3 must-wins since Brew got a point.
Brew had
I just got a point.
This is Eagles, Chargers. If you see Trey Lance there, peeking over Justin Herbert's shoulders because Justin Herbert did not practice today. So he might get the start if Herbert can't go. These two teams statistically more similar than I expected, except that it turns out the Eagles are outgained on the season by 500 yards, while the Chargers outgained their opponents by 800 and almost 60 yards. So it doesn't totally mean a lot because they're both 8-4, but it's
something Josh told you, so we put it on the table.
You don't think that's interesting? Minus 509?
You just said it doesn't mean. I thought it was interesting until the person who was telling me about it was like, it's not that important.
Well, they're still 8-4. I'm saying it's something.
Okay.
Brew, you have a chance to steal the victory because this is worth 2.
Yeah,
Who's this a must-win for?
I got a call from someone earlier today.
My goodness.
Oh, an acquaintance. And he's out in LA, and he's a big Eagles guy. He can't wait to get on the flight with them after they play the Chargers back to LA.
He's going to be on the
He
plane.
wants to be.
Is that a lot?
His name's Essen. Essen Funk. Short for supernatural funk. This is a must-win for the Eagles because if they lose this game, Essen Funk, Supernatural Funk, is getting on that flight with them cross-country, and their season could be over.
Wow.
But it is the rare double must-win.
What?
Because for the Chargers, have you seen their schedule? We talk about win out. They could lose out.
Land the plane. You did.
They could
you did an
lose
Essen
out.
thing.
So this is the double must win.
We need to go the double.
But it is. The Chargers have Philly,
Yeah, it's on the
Kansas
street
City,
rule.
Dallas,
Oh, this
Houston,
is the lowest common denominator.
and
Just put
Denver.
the schedule up.
Yeah.
I know, but you did the cool S.
Well, give it to me for the beginning.
All right,
Beginning was
Greg,
fire.
it's still open because he fumbled it at the goal line with the double must win.
Yeah, he was right at the end. It is a double must win.
Oh, Greg, double must win.
It's definitely a double must win.
You just move on in there.
When we-
You can't copy me like that.
Can you sit down like you did, like you chose to yesterday for the holiday party? Okay, it's a double
You
must
lucky or
win.
you wouldn't have won that ping pong championship.
It's a double must win because if you are Philly, the last thing you want to do is have to put up a rearview mirror because somebody is on your bumper, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. Get it done, and the mirror's down. You remove that. And when you go to the Chargers, guys, it is time. Joe Burrow, I don't care who's hovering over your shoulder. They don't get to play. You got to play.
I hate that.
You got to put stuff to sleep. And right now, I'm going to stand up, get out my box.
said Joe Burrow.
Put this red monster to sleep. In their season. Period. It is a must-win for you and the Eagles.
So close.
Chargers.
Wow.
Greg,
Greg.
Make it
Greg, you know
happen.
how
so
you know how
close.
when you were playing they would say the eye in the sky don't lie. Go back and do film study.
When you look at that film,
When
you're
you
gonna
go back and look, you're going to
furious.
say, "Man, I did everything right, except I called Justin Herbert Joe Burrow." And then I started yelling at Nick.
You're so close.
So
It's just like stepping out of bounds.
You know what I meant.
He reached for the pylon at the end while celebrating early, and now all of a sudden it's touchback. This guy made the catch of the year, and we looked, and he only got 1 foot in bounds like it's college.
It's just-
So I'm just going to go out and tell you, it's a single must-win. It is only a must-win for Philadelphia because the Chargers have the built-in excuse of our quarterback has a broken hand and had surgery a few days ago. They also, oddly, have more of a margin of error than Philadelphia does if we believe the Cowboys are about to go on the run that we all talk about, and because Philadelphia has the funk hanging over them. They have spent all their draft resources for 5 years on building the biggest, baddest defensive line in football, and they traded for another guy at the deadline. The Chargers' offensive line is their biggest weakness. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Jalen Phillips will be able to win this game by themselves. It'll be a de facto home game for Philadelphia. All their fans will go cross country to LA for the game. It's a must-win for the Eagles.
In my defense, my mistake.
Oh, no.
For no. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, okay, both J names. But yesterday's mistake, I'm just following the trend of this show. This is what we do.
Oh, he's throwing our producers under the bus.
No, I'm throwing you under the bus.
Ryan, what did I do? Yeah, what did I do?
You okayed the mountain.
What?
There's
No,
no
okay.
way Ryan Tannehill's face should have been on
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett.
The point you made about everyone getting on the plane reminded me of Essen getting on the plane. Bro, take it.
Yes,
There's
baby!
a guy named Essen. His last name Funk.
Thank you. Back where it belongs. The trophy is back where it belongs. Thank you.
Next. Chris Paul. Chris Paul just got let go by the Clippers. What is going on? That's next up. First things first.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite? Realtor.com's got 'em. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back? Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Chris Paul is expected to retire a Clipper. It's going to be nice. Raise jersey to the rafters, maybe get a statue. Not so much. Let go last night in Atlanta, which was extra weird. Shams reporting that, quote, his leadership style clashed with the Clippers. Went on to write, Paul has been vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable, which the team felt became disruptive. Specifically, Ty Lue was not on speaking terms with Paul for several weeks.
Wow.
No idea how he got checked into the game. Bro, what questions does this release raise for you?
Well, no questions, but like you guys know on the call this morning before a lot of this reporting was out there, I said Chris can be difficult to play with. And obviously he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great. But he's a great leader. We saw that everywhere he went, they improved. But he's always talking and directing and telling you to go here, you to go there. And when he's great, which he has been for his career, you put up with it. But when you're not anymore and you're hardly even getting playing time, then it can become hard to handle. And I think taking that to the coaching staff and the front office is why they felt it was disrupted. Now, all that said, you can't. I don't care what was going on.
Correct.
This is arguably the best player in your franchise, the former president of the Players Association, a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best point guards ever. You it got bad, obviously. You sit down with him and you just like, look, we can't keep on with this. I would try to get him to retire, and then we send him out ceremonially with a great ceremony at a game or whatever, and make it look like his decision. If he didn't,
that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
He's averaging 2. I mean, he knows that it's over. But if he didn't do that, then I would just keep him on the team until I can trade him on December 15th. That's because I don't think it looks good for the Clippers. They're already a franchise that everybody thinks is a joke. And now you do this to your best player ever, arguably?
All right, listen. I like Chris Paul a lot. I know Chris Paul a little. I'll say that on the front end. Chris Paul started all 82 games last year for the San Antonio Spurs. The Clippers signed him, and he understood, and the agreement was, hey, you're not going to have that role because we're going to be so deep and so good, you're going to have a lesser role. Well, when Kawhi's not around and Beal's injured and the team is awful, and Chris, the reporting is his anger or whatever it was not directly about him not playing, but about things that he thought the team could do better. And I love Ty Lue. You owe him a meeting. And I don't know the personal relationship there, maybe it was too toxic. You cannot treat this player this way. Right. I would argue any franchise can't. Certainly not the Clippers. Just a quick reminder of how great Chris Paul's career has been. He's one of 3 guys in the history of the league with 20,000 points and 10,000 assists. He's second all time in assists and steals, arguably the 2 biggest point guard stats, to John Stockton. Second all time in both those categories, and you send him home in the middle of the night. And so I think it's outrageous. I also think, and I understand there is a lot of this guy must have a ton of media friends, and I don't get it. I'm sure he's a good guy. But at what point do we say, hey, Lawrence Frank, how's the decade gone? You've had the most expensive team. You did create potentially an unstoppable dynasty, but it's in Oklahoma City. You're giving them that pick this year. There is this unrelated to you, we think, scandal hovering over the team. You've won 3 playoff series in a decade. Every year, this year
they re-signed Kawhi.
You re-signed Kawhi
on his first deal.
This year, the plan was, it's going to sound crazy, what if we get even older? Oh. And I think that'll work. And now you're a train wreck and you're disrespecting Chris Paul on the way out the door. I don't get it. I don't understand why no one is held to account for what has been. Ballmer has thrown unlimited resources, maybe some resources he's not even supposed to have access to, into the team. And you can't compete.
So let me ask you, like I said, we're in agreement that you can't do it this way. How do you think they should have done it? You heard me say try to get him to retire, send him out ceremoniously, or trade him.
I honestly, when I'm in the midst of this swoon and I'm 5-16, I might be like, all right, hey, Chris, whatever you think we should do, we'll try it for a week.
Why not?
There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose.
He and Ty Lue are obviously at odds if the reporting is right. So you can't. I don't think you can underman Ty Lue like that.
And I wouldn't want to do that. And I love Ty Lue, but I think that if they were winning and Chris was upset, that's one thing. But they are certainly underachieving this year.
Yeah, look at hear you out.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
we're only better than the Pelicans.
I hear
you might have
him
a point.
out, but yeah.
Quickly to try to end on an optimistic note, what do you think's next? The question I would have was like, what's next for Chris Paul? Do you see another team? We know he wanted to be a dad more after it being sort of on the road a long time. You've talked about that when he joined the Clippers to be home in LA. Do you see him going somewhere else? Do you have a spot for him, bro?
I mean, I have great respect for Chris, so whatever he does, I support. I think he probably should hang it up.
I want him to get a farewell, man. In early January, the Lakers get an open roster spot, and he'd stay in LA. LeBron have someone to play cards with his age. I don't. You know what I like? Because Houston needed a point guard, but they're number one offense in basketball. Like the Knicks kind of makes sense, but I don't think he wants to be cross country from his kids.
Tears next. Live from New York. It's a show that's a little bit upset at Greg Jennings in his table tennis dominance, but not super.
Greg, I thought you took it easy on him. To be honest,
he played well.
Greg played me left-handed and beat me. So
Is that true?
Yeah, but I don't walk around and be like, I'm letting everybody know I have a ping pong board in my house. And I use it to exercise my traps. I don't do that like some people.
It's not called a ping pong ball. Second hour person. Today, what would Shedeur outplaying Cam Ward mean to his career? Interesting discussion. Meanwhile, Joel Klatt is here to talk Ohio State, Indiana, and the latest Lane Kiffin drama. We'll try to figure that out. But right now, you're in for a real treat. Last night in a well-lit shuffleboard arena, a ragtag committee of analysts, savants, and people with very tight-fitting jackets. I had a bigger torso than that. Fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all of sports. It's an honor and it's a privilege. It's time for Nick's Tears.
What KW's alluding to there is, for our A block bit, I was going to wear one of my louder sport coats, and then when we switched seats, he was going to put on my sport coat, but the guy's just too jacked. He was like, this thing won't button.
It's like a boy's large. He's like, it's Oshkosh, my gosh. They don't make those for adults.
So we couldn't do the bit.
Robot.
Husky. Did Brew just say Sears Robot? Brew just said Sears Robot.
Yeah, I had a pair of Husky pants.
I think that was a Brutus.
All right.
Sears Robot.
A quick update on the eliminations, because no one was facing elimination last week, and so there are no fresh eliminations. We are still sitting on these 11 eliminations, and because it is very important to the committee to never have to uneliminate a team, and thanks to our favorite tool, the Athletic Playoff Predictor, you look at it, no one this week actually is facing elimination. So, to the tiers, the bottom of the tiers, the dumb AFC North. And here's what I mean. It's just the dumb. I mean, and here's what I mean. The fact that Cincinnati is sitting there at, what are they, Brew? 4-8.
Yeah.
And they're not facing elimination. No, with life and with a little margin of error. I'm like, okay.
Do they have a margin?
Yes. If they lose this week and then win out, they're like 60% to win the dumb AFC North. Don't be fooled. This is not about this team's chances to make the playoffs, which are slim, but that's not what I'm talking about. You are going to have the choice this offseason to activate a fifth-year, very expensive option on Bryce Young. Don't be fooled into doing that. He's had a few nice games.
Not even giving him the
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So
I would not do that. No, well, you get him next year no matter what. Okay. Next year's year 4.
Oh, you don't.
I would, right. But you have to make the decision on the fifth-year option this offseason. Yeah. I think he has earned coming back next year, which was in question.
Right.
I do not think you want to necessarily tie yourself long-term financially, even if he did have a great game this past weekend, a couple more of those together. Wholly untrustworthy, and at least one of these teams is making the playoffs. The Colts and the Jags. They both sit at 8-4. The Jags seem to be in the far better position right now. They are the Colts. After, the Magic Act, Act 1 ended, Act 2 has not quite been as dazzling. And the offense has gone from the 07 Rams to the Jeff Fisher Rams. And so that's not, or the 01 Rams, pardon me. The Jags, on the other hand, man, it is impressive they have overcome the injuries. Brian Thomas is back, but to him, Travis out for the year, injuries to the offensive line, and the fact that Trevor's numbers this year are some of the worst of his career, and they are still in that position. But week to week, it's very, very difficult to trust them. Now, I do have to say, KW, you might be a little angry at Marshall, who names the tiers for some of the ones coming up, because they could be viewed as poking fun at a take of yours.
Well, let's see it.
Bob tried to talk him out of it.
Bob?
I haven't talked about Bob on the committee?
I thought the name, wow, how did he get on there with it?
The
Regular name?
Again, Bob tried to talk him out of it. Thurgood Marshall. Potential dynasty and actual dynasty. So the Chiefs' actual dynasty is obvious what it is, but by the new rules about what it takes to all of a sudden OSHA inspectors like there might be a dynasty around here, best I can tell, it's a good record, a young quarterback people believe in, a coach people believe in.
Dynasty DNA.
And again, so they check a lot of those same boxes. Maybe not quite as many, but again, I think the example you used on Twitter was if I were making a pizza and I had the dough and all of this. So just again, potential and actual dynasty. And right now, Chiefs and Chargers as a bonus, I think it's going to come down to them for the final playoff spot in the AFC. I think you're going to get 2 from the AFC South, 2 from the East, 1 from the dumb AFC North, and the Broncos and one of those 2 teams. Playoff matchup we deserve, the Niners-Bucks. Purdy Bake Show. Ooh. First things first bowl, 3.5 or whatever it would be.
That, bro.
And it's a likely one, where the Bucks are the 3 or the 4 seed and the Niners are the 5 or the 6 seed. That it certainly is in play that we get that. And I'd be 2 teams, the 2 most injured NFC playoff teams that they've overcome it. Throughout the course of the year, 2 teams who have oddly polarizing quarterbacks with very different paths, and 2 teams that I think most people believe, whatever their ceiling is, it's a rung beneath the Super Bowl. Not everybody believes that, but most. I think it's a playoff matchup we could get. Wow. I couldn't believe it. More potential dynasties? Well, the Eagles have already won one. So they're way ahead of the game. And you look at the Texans, they have a coach we believe in. C.J. Stroud's won playoff games. They have a great defense. I'm just telling you, they check a lot of those boxes.
Dynasty
I mean, you can say that. Mike Vrabel spent time with the team. There's a lot of connection there. So, again, and by the way, right now, this moment, I think they're the same caliber teams. I think the Eagles and the Texans, if they played on a neutral field right now, it's about a coin flip game with how the Texans are playing and how confident they are, and then the Eagles in the opposite situation. Fork in the road moment tomorrow night, Cowboys-Lions, for their season, that is, not for the franchise move. I think both the Cowboys, almost no matter what, are going to feel very optimistic going into next year. The Lions, I think, can gather themselves if they have a disappointing season, but the loser of this game is in brutal shape.
Yeah.
And it feels like the Lions should have a bigger margin of error, but they don't because the top of the the NFC is so top heavy. So Thursday night, fork in the road moment. I couldn't believe it. Wow. So many dynasties, all second-year quarterbacks, all coaches we love, all gaudy records. I mean, you were talking about a 10-win team, an 11-win seed, a 9-win team. The Broncos had a mini dynasty once upon a time. The Bears had the greatest single-season team ever, and the Patriots are the Patriots. I mean, look at this.
From the AFC. You can't have a dynasty when there is the old dynasty in the AFC West.
Okay.
No, AFC
okay, my bad. I wasn't quite sure of the rules, but I mean that's a fifth of the league that is on the doorstep of a dynasty.
I'll tell you who's not.
I told
hanging on by a thread.
I also think all three of these teams right now are the same caliber. Really, really good. And what's up, KW?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Really, really good. Need to see them do something in the postseason to full-on buy into them, but their regular season resumes are wildly impressive. 2 of them lead the conference, and the one that doesn't is if they win this weekend, they then start leading the conference in Denver because they have the tiebreaker with New England. Now or literally never, the Buffalo Bills. If they can't make the Super Bowl this season, why would anyone think the path will ever be laid out more perfectly for them moving forward? We've already talked about the AFC teams that are ahead of them in the standings have wholly unproven quarterbacks. The teams with the proven quarterbacks are going to have to fight. They're playing playoff games right now just to get an opportunity to get there. Those teams, Buffalo would potentially have home field advantage, certainly against the Chiefs if they were to meet in the postseason, if the Chiefs were to get there. This has to be the year for the Bills. A games. The Packers and the Seahawks. Both of these teams, you feel like you just know 9 out of 10 games the defense is going to be somewhere from good to spectacular. And when the offense is rolling as well, those two, they look like they're the best teams in football. And Seattle has been probably the least covered excellent team this year. Green Bay, we have seen less A++ games from them than the other really good teams. When they have played it, they've looked great. And then at the top, despite coming off a loss, pretty clearly the best team. A team that right now I think can feel like we can beat you with our defense, we can beat you with our offense. Our quarterbacks won a Super Bowl, our head coaches won a Super Bowl. We have a great wide receiver duo, and that, Greg Jennings, are the Week 14 tiers.
I'm going to jump down to the wild so many dynasties because you said something as you were talking about those 3 teams, the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Bears, and said those teams are pretty much the same. I completely disagree.
Tell me.
The New England Patriots, Wilds, I got you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
They need, before I continue, in case, I'm not jumping ship off the Buffalo Bills, but leave room in your back seat with the boys, because I might take a ride with you.
Let's go.
That's the belief that I have in this team. Like, they should be higher.
Wow.
They should be much higher on this team. We talk about checking boxes, and again, we know they have a really good coach of the year candidate. They've been excellent. But what they have that those other 3 teams on that same road do not have and haven't had consistently all season is a conductor under center. And what he's been able to do, he being Drake May, he has been extremely special. When we talk about games that matter, and we'll see in the postseason because these teams will be in the postseason, if we are to cast a bet and have belief in a team, we are typically going to lean to the team that has the
Proven quarterback.
Okay.
None of them have that. They have the best quarterback.
Based on what we've seen through the course of this season, he is unrattled. He's
100%.
It doesn't matter what he's faced against. He has the goods to deliver. And it's not because he has some extremely great weapon.
Totally agree.
But he just knows how to spread the ball around. When you look at these numbers, and people don't take into account how impressive this is to do, but 400 yards receivers in this game, 5. They have 5. That means this young man includes everyone. There is no offensive player on this roster that gets into that huddle and doesn't believe he's getting an opportunity to make a play. Why? Because Drake May is going to utilize everything. He's not going to focus on one player. And I haven't even talked about the defense. I'm solely talking about this team offensively because I believe in this young man. I believe in his posture, his demeanor, obviously the way he speaks. He talks about being a conductor, and he's been one of the best conductors at the quarterback position we have seen all year long, proven or not. I like this team going into the regular stretch of the season.
Question for Greg, just because now I'm getting fired up.
Go.
There we go. There's a screen grab that's making its way around social media, but the Kyle Williams touchdown that he got in barely. The ball's in the air, and I think both Mac Hollins and Stephon are like celebrating. It's one of those it's almost like a Steph Curry type thing, Klay Thompson. Do you think that spreading the ball around that, and I know we give a lot of credit to like Vrabel, the culture setter, that also is a foundation of a good culture? Like, I'm going to get mine, you can get yours, and they're all rooting for each other? Or is that just variable?
Absolutely. And I think it has a lot to do with Josh McDaniels and just allowing his quarterback to understand you don't have to focus in on one guy. A lot of times when you have a young quarterback, you're in their ear saying, hey, you got your check down, you got this guy, you got this guy. They're letting him play.
So go back to the tiers real quick, because I want to just respond to Greg, because it is undeniable that right now the Patriots have the best quarterback of the three. It's undeniable. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league moving forward, and I think he's been if I had an MVP vote, he'd be second, and the other 2 quarterbacks wouldn't be in your top 15. Yeah. I get that. The reason I think they are closer than you clearly do is the records. It's 2-loss, 2-loss, 3-loss. So the records are very similar. Mm-hmm. The coaches are all coaches, I think, we believe in. Ben Johnson, the least experienced. Sean Payton hasn't had the success recently, but the Super Bowl champion. Vrabel's just one of the most respected coaches. They're the same quarterback class. We've only seen one of them in the playoffs, and that was a disaster. The other 2, we've seen a lot of great quarterbacks not be great quarterbacks their first playoff game. So that's at least a question mark. Patriots have the best quarterback, the second best of the 3, second best defense, and worst running game. The Broncos have the best defense, the second best running game, and the worst quarterback. The Bears have the best running game, the second best quarterback, and the worst defense. So I think that I agree with you that I almost always tie goes to the quarterback.
Sure.
When they're young, when it's a young quarterback, I need to see him play in his first playoff game before I give him that tie goes to him stamp. So that's all. That would be the point that I made.
All right. I hate to rain on Seattle's parade.
Bro, they're good.
But drop the Seahawks.
Why?
I'm about to tell you why. Because they have beaten one team, Greg, that would currently be in the playoffs. They are 1-3 against playoff teams right now. 1-3. All right? And I've heard a lot of chatter about good quarterbacks, best quarterback, proven quarterbacks. Seattle's got a proven quarterback, proven to mess up when the chips are the highest. I mean, look, and I'll leave the door open for him to maybe turn it around, but so far, last year, when the games really got tight and you could win the division and you play in the playoffs, he was terrible. This year, here's his record against playoff teams and against non-playoff teams. Look at the numbers. Passer rating plummets.
That's a fine passer rating.
It's fine, but look at him against non-playoff teams. Look at the touchdown to interception.
That was all one game.
Well, yeah, but the touchdowns are all one game, too. He had 4 against Tampa, so it kind of evens out.
No, not bad.
The yards per game he throws for a lot, maybe because they're trailing. But my point is he doesn't play well in the big moments, and obviously those are going to become big moments. And here's the thing. As the expectations of him and the team rises, he has started to struggle a little bit. His last 4 games, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
That's one game is all of it. Is the 4 picks,
Should we just erase that one,
No,
Greg?
I'm just saying I don't think it's a
Losing
trend.
in the playoffs would be one game. That's all he takes.
I don't think it's a trend when he.
And these aren't even playoff teams. 3 of the last 4 games are against non-playoff teams.
The problem is the guy who he's on the same level as, the last 2 games we've seen him in the playoffs, he's been awful.
But hold on, he was
great in his first playoff game, and then his second playoff game.
That means a lot. Look at those top 4 teams you have. Mm-hmm. The Rams obviously have a proven Super Bowl champion. Everybody's All-American. Yeah. Look, J-Lo went into Jerry World.
Yes, and then,
where they had won, 15, 16 straight? It was 2 years ago. 16 straight games and got busy on them. Obviously, Josh Allen. Then Darnold.
J-Lo was worse in the playoffs last year than Darnold.
Yeah, but he at least has shown you he can do it. He had a bad game.
And
Darnold, from what we see now, it looks like the moment might be too big.
I agree that
J-Lo just had a bad game. It wasn't the moment.
I don't. That's the part I don't know if I agree with you.
Well,
but
why wouldn't the moment have been
too big? I don't think you're going to bat 1,000 or over for your careers, but I think Seattle's really, really, really good.
I just want to drop them a level, but you got them too high.
Okay, W.
I think the Bills are riding on reputation. I've been singing the same song since week 1 of the Bills. I'm like, eh. And I know everyone likes the Bills because they're a little bit like a steakhouse in the city where you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And you get in there like, I don't know. I was in here 2 years ago. It was just a little bit better. Here's why. 1, Sean McDermott's defense is not the same as it used to be. You can be okay. You can be great at stuff. That's the best case scenario. You can be middle of the road at stuff. That's an okay scenario. But being dead last in things is really bad.
Does it offset at all that their pass defense ranks are almost the exact opposite of this?
Not to me.
Okay.
I like running the ball. Okay. I like when it gets cold, you're going to be handing that thing off and like, uh-oh, right up the middle on this Bills defense. 2, Josh Allen under pressure. And this is just 2024, he didn't get sacked at all. He also won the MVP. He had the fewest sacks in 12 or more starts. This year, he's tied for the 6th most sacks. A lot of these sacks, and again, I'm going to have to go back and watch all these sacks. I'm probably not actually going to do that. But when I go back and watch all these sacks, they're not sort of what I call a Myles Garrett sack, where it's like,
quick pressure.
Boom, done, Josh Allen's down. It's a lot of him looking down the field, trying to extend the play. Oh, is Keon Coleman there? Oh, no, we sat him down for 2 games. Oh, is Jalen Wild there? Oh, no, we didn't trade for him.
You think that's what he's thinking?
Where's everybody?
Where's Matt?
Is Stephon Diggs there? Oh,
Oh, where's Matt Collins? He was great against the Chiefs. Oh, we let him go for no reason?
Gabe Davis.
Oh, he's on the Patriots?
Gabe Davis was one great against the Chiefs.
Matt Collins was great against the Chiefs. He scored a touchdown. Showed up in an animal outfit.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fine. So now he's looking around the field, trying to make things happen. And guess what? Doing too much. Most giveaways since the start of October. I don't count Sam Darnold's because 4 of them are just in 1 game. I also lose.
Oh, God.
But Josh Allen has been spreading the thing around. You're right there with Tua. All we do is talk about Tua's interceptions. All we do is talk.
We haven't talked.
Giveaways.
We literally haven't talked about Tua at all this year.
You know why? Because he gives the ball away too much. Doesn't even make weird and wonderful throws.
So listen. So you are right to a degree that they're writing on reputation, but in the defense of the committee, that is because they are reminding us lately of the scariest Bills teams, which are teams where Josh will turn the ball over. That is true. But right now, here's what they have. They have the best running attack in football. You just said you like running the ball in the playoffs. They have the best running attack in football paired with what, unless Patrick makes it, will be clearly the most proven and arguably, I'm saying arguably, deference to Drake May, the best quarterback on his side of the bracket in the playoffs, and a defense that, you're right, is very bad at one thing and very good at another. But if you think the Patriots are the biggest threat, what's the only thing the Patriots aren't good at offensively?
What do we do against the
What's the only thing the Patriots aren't good at?
I think we're good at everything. I think it's a Josh McDaniels play calling decision when we're not good at running the ball. We're 11-2. We ran for I think we ran for 150 some odd
Okay, well,
yards
listen,
I'm
not going to be able to combat the argument of the stuff we're not good at, it's because we don't want to be.
Well, we're 11-2.
No,
I'm just saying there's decisions being made where it's like, I don't think we have to run the ball that much.
Flip side to that is typically a team that's been winning.
3.9.
Right. I mean, how about?
Okay, maybe we should be undefeated.
No, again.
I'm saying we won 10 straight games. To be like, you guys are bad at this. I disagree with.
KW, I understand that for some reason at this moment, it's very hard to say there's anything that the Patriots aren't perfect at. The point I am making is this: if the Bills, if the best team in the conference were the Colts, I think I would be very concerned about having the worst run defense. If the best team in the conference offense is powered by the MVP quarterback, then maybe I would prefer to have the best pass defense. That's the argument. Now, if the answer is we actually also could have the MVP running back, but we're saving that for the playoffs, then so be it. But I just think that is, I think the Bills reminding me of old great Bills teams is a good thing.
I think it's like Jamie Foxx, where it's like, he's a great actor. He's not, a very good singer. It's like, no, I could sing too. I'm just doing a movie right now where I don't sing.
Yeah, I understand.
Want me to start singing? I'll be excellent.
Then explain the yards per carry stuff, buddy. That doesn't work there.
Saturday, for the first time in conference history, number 1 and number 2 collide in the Big Ten title game. Heisman frontrunners collide in the Big Ten title game. Julian Sand, number 1 Ohio State. Fernando Mendoza, number 2 Indiana. Coverage begins Saturday, 6:30 Eastern on Fox. On the call and with us here now is Joel Klatt. Joel, welcome back. Thank you as always for making time out of your day. And again, I love the plant. Questions for you. Normal Big Ten championship game is for the Big Ten. Here we've got the championship, we've got seeding, we've got the Heisman, we've got the undefeated seasons, we've got how big of a game is this in Indiana football history. How am I supposed to wrap my head around all of these priorities? How are you looking at the storylines of this game?
Oh man, I can't wait. I have never called a 1 versus 2 game, so wow. I'm very excited about this opportunity. And you're right, it's not just a Big Ten championship game, although that alone would be big. Remember, none of these players for Ohio State have actually won a Big Ten championship. Yeah. As successful as they've been, they didn't win it a year ago. They haven't won it since 2020 in the COVID year. So it's big for them. And then Indiana, this is an obvious one. This is the biggest game in the history of their program. Period. Point blank. And, they've got a chance to not only win the conference title, not only lock up the number 1 seed in the college football playoff, but also possibly win a Heisman Trophy. And so for that program, this game and the enormity of it cannot be overstated. I can't wait for the environment. Plus, it's 50 miles from Bloomington, a little bit more than that, maybe 64 miles from Bloomington. So it's going to be an incredible environment. I think there's going to be a ton of energy. And listen, like I said, I'm fired up about it. And by the way, these two teams, I should say, definitely the best, most complete teams in college football. Won't shock me, guys, if this is the first of 2 meetings.
Ooh,
wow. Like that.
Well, last week, obviously, Ohio State beat Michigan. I want to know, could that game, do you expect it to have any type of emotional effect on Ohio State in this game, whether it's positive, we just beat Michigan for the first time in 4 or 5 years, or negative in that, I mean, this, some fans in Columbus think that's bigger than like the national championship. So could there be a letdown on the Buckeyes' part?
That's always a possibility. They also haven't had as much rest down the stretch as Indiana has had. Indiana had a bye week right before they played Purdue. So Indiana is a more rested team, and I think, and all due respect to Ohio State, probably a more focused team. Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator of Ohio State, he just got the South Florida job, so there's a little distraction there. They just come off beating Michigan after losing those 4. So there's no doubt there's going to be a little bit of a downer. Now, here's the difference, though, is that every single week, since week 1 when I covered them against Texas, guys, the number 1 way that Ryan Day describes this group of kids is businesslike. And every time I've seen them, they've been businesslike. They've had the same approach. It's felt the same on the field before the game against Texas, Illinois, Rutgers, and Michigan. So it didn't matter the enormity of the situation. There was this almost professionalism that was exuded by this team, namely their quarterback, Julian Sand. And so I would expect them to be ready to go, but there's no doubt that they're the lesser of the rested version in this game, and they could be a little bit distracted with what's going on with their coaching staff.
Well, you mentioned the assistant coach from Ohio State moving on. Let's go to moving on coaches and talk Lane Kiffin. So what do you think about this whole situation with him leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU?
I mean, there's so many broken parts to this thing, and that doesn't exempt him from a selfish decision because it was. Now, I'm not begrudging him that opportunity. If he thinks that's better for him and his future and his family, then more power to him. And this is, the pickle that he finds himself in with our broken calendar in college football. Can you imagine, just for a moment, in the NFL, if we were competing not only at the end of the regular season, but into the postseason in the NFL playoffs, while trying to build rosters and sign free agents and draft people and hiring coaches and everything. So obviously the calendar in college football is broken, but that's not an excuse for Lane. The problem in this situation is that Ole Miss is trying to look out for their future. So they say, hey, Lane, no, you can't coach the playoff because no one's going to be looking over our team and our program during roster building time in the calendar with the early signing date and the transfer portal. Lane is looking after his future, and he's saying, well, listen, I think LSU is a better opportunity for me because they're going to invest more into the roster, and I think I can recruit high school players a little bit better at LSU. Both of those, by the way, are not crazy positions, and I actually probably agree with both of those. Here's the issue. Nobody is looking after the players who are narrowly focused about this playoff. All they want to do is a chance to win these games in front of them and go and compete for and win a national championship. And this is making it harder on them. That's why it's a selfish decision. You wait all year, you build yourself all year. Your coach asks you to commit to something larger than yourself, and then he bails. So do I love it? No. But do I understand it? Obviously. Obviously, I know what's going on.
So, Joel, but if Lane asked you for advice, would you have told him to, forget
Stay.
the lawyer? So that's what I wanted to get. It feels to me, everyone talks about how LSU's such a better job, and it has more resources.
I don't know if it is.
Right, so that's what I wanted to get into. So why would you have told him to stay other than do right by the players? Set that aside just for him personally.
Sure. Well, in the modern college football, I think it's very different than what we know of from the past, where you have to be at a small number of schools in order to compete for a championship. What we're actually seeing now is that you can build yourself into a top-end contender and win at the top end of college football with things like Kurt Cignetti at Indiana, Joey McGuire at Texas Tech, and Lane at Ole Miss. I think he's proving this out. And what it takes is investment, which Ole Miss has had. They've invested into the transfer portal heavily. He's done a marvelous job of that. And then it also takes alignment of a coach, an athletic director, and the university administration. And they have that at Ole Miss. They've got that alignment. LSU does not, guys. LSU is I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but it's a bit of a dumpster fire, right? I mean, the governor is involved, and now the interim AD gets the long-term AD job, but I heard there was jockeying for position there, and there's a lot of political things. The governor says, we're never going to give a contract like Brian Kelly had. Then Lane Kiffin gets a contract for $91 million with no offset and no mitigation. So it's like, well, who's really in charge and who can pull the strings? So that would be my argument, is that if he wants to win a national championship, he has that opportunity at Ole Miss right now in front of him. And is it easier at LSU? Maybe, but only if there's alignment. You can't just throw money at problems and feel like those problems are going to go away. Those are structural, and they need to fix those before they're going to have success on the field.
All right, Joel, I really hope we agree on this, because
that's pressure.
I'm oddly passionate.
I just
about
heard you
this.
guys arguing about the Patriots run game, which is non-existent. They won't do anything in the playoffs.
Thank you, Joel. Don't ask Kevin
I'm
Wildes.
sorry.
Don't ask Kevin
I'm
Wildes.
sorry.
Joel, sidebar question. In all your years on a football team, was there ever something you guys weren't good at because you decided you just didn't want to be? Like, it's like, we could be good at it, but we just don't want to be.
Are we having problems moving the ball up and down the
Look
field?
at him. He's so mad.
We're not having
He's
any
just so
issues.
mad. All right, let's stay on topic, though. Notre Dame, Miami. If there's one spot for them, it has to go to Miami. And I know that
they're directly compared
because they played. Do you agree with me that it's as simple as that?
Yes. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Every tiebreaker in any sport
is head-to-head.
ever known to man on the face of the planet, what is the first criteria in the tiebreaker?
Head-to-head.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are we doing? You know, and yes, at some point they're going to be compared directly. Here's why Notre Dame is in a pickle. And actually, I would bet on Notre Dame missing the playoffs, even though they're not going to play another game and Miami is not going to play another game. The canary in the coal mine right now is BYU. They're protecting Notre Dame from a direct comparison with Miami, but BYU is going to move because they play another game.
Yep.
They're going to either pass Notre Dame and knock them out if they beat Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game, or they will lose and probably fall behind Miami, thus putting Miami and Notre Dame right next to each other. And then the committee will have no other option. I also believe that there's a little bit, not that this is sinister, but I think that there's a little bit of protection to the ACC because there's a situation out there where if Duke were to win the ACC would just be on the outside of the playoff. And their only hope would be an at-large spot for Miami. So I think that the committee is giving themselves a buffer by moving Notre Dame, down to 10, and Alabama passing them for no reason after beating a bad 5-7 Auburn team. But all of a sudden they switch spots. Why? So they can get one spot closer to Miami, and then BYU will play this out, and then the committee will be like, well, it was out of our hands. All of a sudden they're next to each other. Look at that. And then they can put Miami in. So I think that either BYU or Miami is going to be in the playoff, and I do think Notre Dame is going to miss out.
All right, Joel, before we let you go, we were listening to Ben Roethlisberger's podcast, and he was talking about...
You subscribe to, Joel? It's a great one.
Well,
To Ben's?
Yeah.
Only if he would tell me that they could run Jerome Bettis, but why do it?
We don't have any interview
Go ahead.
So anyways, Big Ben is talking about maybe like a fresh start in Pittsburgh, and he was just kicking around Mike Tomlin to Penn State, which seemed ridiculous. Yeah, and at the same time, I was like, something. What were your thoughts on that?
Mike
What's
Tomlin
going on?
Want to get into a business where he's got to sign recruits on a Wednesday, potentially playing a game on Saturday like Ryan Day is this week, and then he's got a transfer portal. I don't see that happening, even though I think that would be great. I think that would be great. Here's where I think Penn State is at. Let me give you kind of, I'll update you on what I think is going on at Penn State. Penn State tried to get Kalani Sitake, and the crumble cookie guy that's a BYU guy was like, no, I'm selling way too many cookies to let Kalani Sitake walk out the door. So crumble cookies for everybody in Provo, baby. That's what we're doing. So Kalani Sitake is going to stay there. I believe that they're targeting Brian Daboll or Jeff Brom at Louisville. And then the fact that they have not hired a coach, and we're at early signing day today, we are signing recruits. And Penn State is getting crushed in recruiting right now because they're losing all of their commitments because they don't have a coach. Why would Penn State not have hired a coach? I think, guys, and this is not, I don't know this for sure. This is speculation, but I think, I've been around this for a long time. I think that they're targeting a guy that's coaching Saturday. And that's the only explanation for not having hired somebody right now. And so there are 3 names of guys that are not either signing long-term extensions or haven't gotten new jobs or would not leave. And here are the 3 names: Tony Elliott, Virginia; Manny Diaz, Duke; Kalen DeBoer, Alabama.
What?
Kalen DeBoer, Alabama.
Then what happens to Bama?
Lane Kiffin goes there because that's the job he
Lane
wants.
Kiffin's like, you know what?
Lane Kiffin activates the buyout and goes there. That's the job he wanted from the beginning.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
LSU was like, what do you mean? You were so committed to us.
All right, Dusty's telling us to go. Gee, that's a bomb
That's
and a
great.
half. That was excellent. All right, Big Ten championship game.
Jeez,
Indiana,
Dusty's
Ohio
telling us to
State.
go.
Yeah, I know. It's that you get 30 minutes with Cowherd. You get 9.5 with us. I don't know what the hell's going on.
A lot of times.
There's 3 of you. We didn't even get into the rushing game of the Patriots. The Broncos
are the best team in the NFL.
He's a Broncos guy. Don't you know that? They're about to be the 1 seed.
And
He's in Denver.
And guess what? Both of those teams, they go up against Josh Allen. Who are you going to take? Josh Allen in the playoffs.
Wilds hates this so much.
Joel, they played head-to-head. We played head-to-head already.
In the regular season.
There you go. Exactly. In the regular season.
Well,
Thank you, Joel.
There's some Super Bowl trophies I don't know about.
Thank you, Joel.
Big Ten championship game. Check it out. Joel Klatt, 6:30 on Saturday. Thank you, Joel. More First Things First. Get on the break.
That was great.
He's great. Thank you,
Thanks,
Joel.
fellas.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Excellent job.
Wow, listen. I always just try to mix it up.
No, it's excellent.
That's perfect.
That was great.
As long as you're, agreeing with what I said, it's perfect.
That's right. Yeah. I've been on with Nick enough. It's just like stay in his lane and everything goes well.
Just keep you up to talk Shedeur.
Boys, have a great day. All right.
You too. Take care. Have a great game. Great time to be a soccer fan. Friday, the FIFA World Cup final draw is going to be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Fox. And then Saturday, Messi and Inter Miami. I've decided to become an Inter Miami guy.
Shocker.
Well, I'm just saying. Square off against Vancouver, MLS Cup at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, also on Fox. Shedeur and the Browns, welcome back. Hosting #1 pick Cam Ward and the Titans. Now get this, Greg. Cam Ward drafted #1, obviously. Shedeur drafted number 144. What would Shedeur outplaying Cam Ward mean to you?
To me, from a player standpoint, when you enter into the draft, you guys know this, I've shared this story before. Like, most players don't have the luxury of going #1. So there's going to be players that potentially are drafted before you. you know who's drafted in front of you. And if you feel like you are a better player than them, you really set out to prove that not only to that individual, but to all those teams that drafted those players ahead of you. That's what Shedeur is going to be going up against this week. Now, Cam is solidified, regardless of how he plays. But for Shedeur, not only is he going to try to outperform Cam to prove a point that he's a better player and that he should have been taken higher and that the Tennessee Titans got it wrong, if you will, but he also has to prove to even his own team, his own fan base, that, you know what, I'm a work in progress, but I'm better than a lot of these guys if you would have given me time. So I think as Shedeur continues to approach this season, specifically this game, you can't allow what we all tend to do immediately is, I'm better than this guy, I got to go out there and prove it. Keep the main thing. And that is trying to manage this offense, continue to execute, progress as a player, but you better believe somewhere in the frontal lobe, near frontal lobe, he's going to be thinking, I got to prove a point to show them that I'm better than Cam.
And look, in fairness, we have to remember that Shedeur is facing a much lesser defense than Cam. Cam is going up against Myles Garrett and all of that. But Cam does have the benefit of having a coaching staff and organization that fully believes in him, that has catered the game plan to fit him, and he's been starting for essentially a whole season now. Where Shedeur, we know it's his third start. He's had a rocky road there, so maybe it evens out. But if Shedeur looks better than Cam, whatever that is, numbers, just the way he manages things, some of the balls he throws, then I think that should make the Browns, Nick, take him seriously as potentially our franchise quarterback. I mean, he's still got many games to play. And look, like all rookies, he's going to look bad in some games. He might look good Sunday and then bad his next game. They shouldn't let that rock him if he goes out there and looks better than Cam Ward. You got to say, okay, maybe this is our guy. Let's let him play the rest of the season, really try to cater the offense to fit what he does best. And then, maybe you've got your guy.
So I think it will be incredibly alarming if Shedeur does not have a better statistical game than Cam Ward.
Oh.
Because again, we don't talk a lot about the Titans.
We don't.
If you haven't been watching, Cam Ward this season, even by rookie quarterback standards, is struggling. His numbers are as follows. He's thrown 7 touchdown passes. He's ran in for 1, so he has 8. Those are his numbers on the year. So that's against every defense.
So do you think I don't want to interrupt you, but you think he's not going to be good?
No, I think the Titans have the least collected talent on any NFL team I've seen in a decade. And they fired their coach. And, you're talking about the coaching staff catering to him. Well, the coach it's right. Mike McCoy. So I just don't think you can judge Cam Ward this year. But my point is, those are his average numbers. And now you're running up against Myles Garrett in this Browns defense. So I expect Cam Ward to have a disastrous game. And Shedeur has the benefit of going up against Jeff Simmons and 10 of his buddies. And so I will not look at it as much of a, wow, look at what he did. I would be really surprised if Cam Ward looks anything other than really bad this weekend. And I think Shedeur should look fine because it's his weakest defense he's played all year.
Live from New York.
There it is.
There we go.
Oh, sorry, Wild said something wildly offensive right before we got on the air.
Oh, sorry. Not Wild. This is talking about your Kansas City ties.
Yeah, it's only offensive to me, not offensive at bars. Yeah.
Well, it's not just a meat store. Let's just say that. First things first, overtime. Today, we're making stats cool yet again.
At what point is that job done, Danny?
Right.
Like where stats are officially cool, so we can't say we're making stats cool because they're already cool.
When is a superhero's job done? It's never ending.
Wow.
Great.
Great.
Are the Bills about to end the Bengals season? Meanwhile, Cole Kmet joining the show to talk about the number 1 seeded Chicago Bears. But right now, we're talking about tomorrow's game, Cowboys at Lions. Tomorrow night, Cowboys riding a 3-game winning streak. Here's Brian Schottenheimer. Take a listen.
When you're talking 17 games before the playoffs start, I think you have to, take each day and each week by themselves. Our best ability to perform well and win games is based on what we do and how we perform and how we execute, not what the opponent does. And we play really good opponents every week, but I just think it's an important part of the process. And then ultimately, when we get to a Super Bowl, it's going to be no different.
Danny, are you giving the Cowboys a chance to catch the Philadelphia Eagles?
No.
No.
No chance.
No chance. I think what Dallas is doing is really impressive, and it's a little too late. Not to just be totally beholden to the odds makers, but the Eagles are minus 900 to win the NFC. They're a 9
NFC East.
NFC East, excuse me, NFC East. Yeah, they're a 9-1 favorite to win the division. The side-by-sides of the remaining schedule, it's very hard for me to see either thing needing, you would need Dallas to win out and Philly to go 3-2 for it to be 11-5-1 for Dallas and 11-6 for Philly. Or sure, you could have Philly having a losing record there. But I think that is way overstating the problems on Philadelphia. You guys are talking a lot about the supernatural funk. And I get it. You guys were a show on TV when the supernatural funk happened. And sure, there's a lot of the same characters that are involved. But this team is the defending champion. This team has an impressive resume this season.
So did that team. That team was the defending NFC champion that was 10-1 with a resume, including beating the Chiefs like this team has beaten the Chiefs and some other really, I'm not picking out the Chiefs because I remember the game,
Bucks.
some other really good games that season.
But you're 2 games in, right? It's a 2-game losing streak
Yes.
right now for Philly against Dallas, who's playing as well as basically any team in football, and the 1 seed in the NFC. And that's all of a sudden like a doomsday scenario. These are not embarrassing losses for Philly. The vibes are bad. We're in complete agreement on that. Mm-hmm. Their offense is underachieving. They're the most expensive offense in football, and they're 24th in yards and 19th in scoring. Offense is underachieving. We agree with that. But this Eagles team is not bad. It's not a bad team.
It's definitively not a bad team. But where I disagree with you is I'm not. To me, the warning signs did not start in the second half against Dallas, because even that Dallas game, they're up 21-0. The warning signs started way before that. Now, I don't know if we can throw up the Eagles' schedule or not, but if you remember the games leading into it, that Green Bay game was 10-7.
Yeah.
We were like, what is going on with the offense? Was the Lions 16-10? It was 16-9. 16-9. So the offense, you're right. They're in the 20th-ish in scoring and yards. They also have more 3-and-outs than any team in the league.
Yep.
The passing offense to me feels bordering on broken, and Saquon has been one of the least effective running backs in the NFL this season. So that's why, to me, I think the Vegas odds are way off. I am not saying it is better than a 50% chance it happens, but giving them any chance, to me, it's like a 1-in-4 shot that Philadelphia collapses.
Danny, you don't buy and I know we can split it any way we want, but a 2-game losing streak, if I also say 4-4 in their last 8? 4-4, but you can be well, actually 5-4 in the last 9. I know it's strange, but if you start to look at it as sort of a festering issue that has finally come to the.
Yeah, but the teams that they have down the stretch, I still think that they're considerably better than. I don't think they're going to lose.
One of them has Peyton Manning, the quarterback. I don't know.
That's a game they could lose, but they are favored by 3 in LA. They'll be favored in 4 of their last 5.
Yes.
Right. And you say they need to lose
3 of them.
3 of those games. So they need to lose multiple games in which they are favored down the stretch.
Like their last 2.
Okay, Nick, but you were saying it was a close win over Detroit or it was a close win over Philly when last year, that's just, they just know how to win. the Chiefs are the champs, and they just know how to win those close games. The Eagles are the champs that have won some close games.
And then go, Brew. The Chiefs had last year a basis of 6 consecutive years of excellence. The Eagles we went to the Super Bowl, then we looked really good and fell apart entirely. We went to the Super Bowl, and then we looked really good and are teetering. That's where we are in the timeline. So that to me, and there is so much more. The Chiefs last year was like, what's wrong with the Chiefs? And inside, they're celebrating after a blocked field goal win. They're making a documentary about a potential three-peat. They felt good. The Eagles on the inside seem as not at all as confident, if you will, that everything is okay as Kansas City did last year.
Yeah, I'm with Danny. Now, I'm not saying zero chance. I think it's very, very slim. I mean, I do think we over-scrutinize. And look, in fair, they bring it on themselves. If the Eagles didn't have all this foolishness coming out of the locker room with A.J. Brown and all that stuff, we probably never would have started looking at every single game and, the offense this. Look, I get 10-7 against Green Bay, 10 points, that's all you scored. That's a great win, though. That's Green Bay. You held them to 7 points. Detroit, you only scored 16, still a great win. Like you said it. Detroit, Green Bay, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and the L.A. Rams, who everybody feels is the best team in the league.
That's a good
that
argument.
was this. Like, I do think, Danny, here's where I probably differ with you. If they lose to the Chargers, then I think they could fall into that supernatural funk again. 3 straight losses. Dallas is right on your tail. Then I think they could plummet. But right now, I'm not ready to say that.
The only problem with that is Dallas is an underdog in Detroit. Dallas can lose this game, too.
Dallas absolutely can lose this game.
And I think you're picking them, too, right?
Yeah, I think Dallas is going to – my belief is I think Dallas is going to go 4-1 down the stretch.
Do you think Dallas is going to catch them?
Like I said, right now, if you offered me an even money bet on it, I would say no. But if you offered like the Vegas odds, absolutely, and right around, I'd say about a 1-in-4 chance. Because the Dallas to me has a couple games I would be shocked if they lost. I would be shocked if Dallas lost to, they have Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'd be shocked if they lost, if it's meaningful, week 18 to whatever's left of the Giants at that point.
They're probably trying to lose that.
Right, the Giants. Right, sure. And so I would be shocked if they lost those games. So for me, the question is, can the Cowboys go 2-1 against Detroit, the Chargers, and Washington to get to that 4-1? I think 5-0 is unrealistic. 8 straight wins, I think, is unrealistic. So to me, 4-1 is reasonable. Philadelphia, and this is the other reason I push back against the Kansas City comps from last year. Kansas City last year in the regular season, it was ugly, it was weird. They lost once. We are 3/4 of the way through the regular season. Philadelphia has lost 4 times. So it's the idea that they are, listen, they play ugly, but they always win. No, they don't.
I think it's weird, Danny, and again, I'm the vibes guy, which is kind of silly, but I do think there's some validity to it.
Sure.
And I do think there's some validity to Ben Johnson changing the culture, right? Vibes are silly, but culture is meaningful. Mm-hmm. So, wow, Ben Johnson has a great culture there, and they really believe each other, and they're supporting each other. So if you think that is great, and you see the vibes or culture in the Eagles locker room that seems like the opposite of the Bears, and they played, and it really went that way, I'm surprised that you don't give it as much validity to the bad vibes in Philadelphia.
I agree that the vibes are bad, and I also think that last year we watched A.J. Brown read a book on the sideline and they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Last year they never lost. Last year they started 2-2, and the vibes were bad. They never lost.
Yeah, that helps.
4 days ago, Chicago ran for 300 yards on them.
Too many.
The week before that, they blew the first 21-point lead the team has given up this century. We have moved past the it's ugly and it's weird, but they win, to we have lost in embarrassing fashion in back-to-back games. That's now where we're at with Philadelphia. And Dallas, on the other hand, has the exact opposite feeling. It's like, we played the last 2 Super Bowl champions, and in comeback fashion, games we were down in the fourth quarter against both of them, Won them both.
Yeah.
They've also lost to Arizona and Carolina. And yes, pre-trade deadline, I understand, but Dallas is not some juggernaut.
I don't think Dallas is juggernaut, but what do you think they're going to go down the stretch? 4-1?
Yeah, 3-2, 4-1.
Okay, if they go 4-1, then I think going into Week 18, Philadelphia has to win that game to win the division.
All right, great news, everybody. You like cool stuff? Well, you're in for a treat. Bears #1 seed in the NFC. Ben Johnson, said we're winning in spite of our passing game, not because of it. None of us are pleased with that right now. Whoops, clarified that. Turns out he on Caleb. He continues to get better each week, and I couldn't be more pleased with how he played. Well, that's great. But that's the problem with editorializing, and that's why we have cool stuff like packed stats. You don't have to,
you don't have to editorialize. The numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. This is why it's cool.
I brought my briefcase with all my cool stats. I'm glad you mentioned Ben Johnson. Yes, Cole Kmet will be on the show in just over 10 minutes or so. We go to #1, and Wilds, I know you like Mike Vrabel, but Ben Johnson should be the coach of the year. Here's the thing. Look back.
Explosive plays.
Okay, hold on. This was the Detroit Lions last season. Remember these numbers. 154 rushing yards per game, 109 explosive plays, second in the NFL. This is the Detroit Lions at this point last season. Show me the Bears through 13 weeks. 154 yards rushing and 102 explosive plays, the most in the NFL. It is a remarkable one-year transformation. I don't know how that graphic got in there with Ben Johnson's shirt off. It might have been a mistake. It might have been intentional. It might be my screen.
Looks like KW playing ping pong.
You guys can't fit in the same jacket. Jack, take it seriously. But honestly, the fact that he got Detroit's offense to Chicago with Caleb not playing like Jared Goff in 1 year is remarkable. He should be the coach of the year.
Do you think it's outrageous? Do you think Vrabel just has it sewn up?
I have a mean take. I don't want to say it.
Wow. You want to trade seats so you can pretend you're...
He called me a liar from this seat yesterday. You can say anything you want.
Sometimes I feel like coach of the year is a little bit of a diss.
Oh, yeah. It's
a little, it's not like coach of the year, Sean McVay. Coach of the year, Andy Reid. It's like,
the overachiever award.
Good for you. For this team, oh my God, I can't believe it. With this quarterback can't.
So do you not want it?
I still want it, but it is a little bit of a diss.
No,
I think personally it's Vrabel. I mean, we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but that team won 4 games last year.
So
he's the favorite.
I know he's brought a lot of new players in.
I wouldn't hate it.
Listen, I think there are actually a handful of deserving candidates. I think Mike McDonald in Seattle. I know Brew's not as high.
They
on
won
Seattle.
10 last year. They are,
That's a diss award again.
I think he's a legitimate candidate. Shanahan is, again, like almost too good of a coach to be allowed to win the award. Here is where I think this. I didn't know that the last year's Lions offense with Jahmyr Gibbs and all those weapons is now this year's Bears offense. That is a great stat.
Thanks, buddy.
Here's the other piece of it.
Stat.
There are
guys, you're so kind.
2 tried and true ways to turn a team around. One is quarterback take a massive leap.
Yeah.
And the other is what the Bears are doing. And that, to me, is more coach-related. Because Caleb, eliminating the sacks has been huge, and I do think he is considerably better than the last year. But I give Vrabel some of the credit for the Drake May, and he picked Josh McDaniel and all of it.
Culture.
But a lot of the Patriots' turnaround is their second-year quarterback is playing like an MVP. The Bears, to me, it's more coaching related. And so that to me is a legit.
That's a cool stat, I think.
Thanks, man.
Cool
Josh McDaniels can win assistant of the year.
I think he deserves that.
And Ben Johnson can win
offensive assistant.
Well, there's not a. I think it's just one.
Yeah. Robert Saleh, man.
Yeah, that's
wow. Bruce trying to give the Niners all these awards.
I do.
I get it though. They're carrying Purdy like if it's a tough lift.
That is a great vote.
You guys want another cool stat?
Yeah, this one's even cooler.
All right, great.
Do they go and they get cooler as it goes on?
Actually, not this week. Oh, I think I led with my cool
They're
stuff.
all
I'm being
equally
totally honest.
cool.
But stay tuned. All right. The Bears defense.
Wow. Well,
it's going to take. Yeah, no, this is Jordan Love stat. It's going to take away a win from the Packers. Here's the thing, Jordan Love. Nick, you said it before the year. Most significant player in the NFL because they've got a Super Bowl caliber team. Yeah. When he doesn't turn the ball over, they're undefeated. When Jordan Love has one measly turnover, they are 1-3-1. This week,
Wilds loves this.
they are playing the team that leads the NFL in takeaways. Jordan Love is coming off the only game in his career where he had 4 touchdowns with no turnovers associated with
Who's got the least turnovers in the league? Do you know?
Probably you guys.
The Packers.
Yes, for giveaways. That is true.
The most.
Jordan Love's, with 3 interceptions is.
But when he does it, they play a lot of close games. When he does it, they lose.
But
1-3-1.
So listen, I think that
Less school.
what'd you say?
Less cool.
Wild's a big believer in that turnover is the worst thing you can do, which is probably true.
It is, but I think it's. I don't like that. I actually think it's. I don't love leading the league in takeaways.
It's not going to stay that way.
You think it's not sustainable?
Yeah, it's just on the ball bounce,
Right.
Okay,
But-
that's fine.
Less so about the Bears' part and more so about the Packers' part. Brew, you agree with at this point, my preseason take that he's the most intriguing player in the league this season. Like the player whose variance will impact who does or doesn't win the Super Bowl more than just about anybody.
I think he's up there. I think now who's become interesting is Drake May. Just because can he continue to play this way in the playoffs, that would be. But I mean, he's up there for sure.
With Drake, I think it's pretty clear he has to be excellent for them to have any chance to win the Super Bowl. I think for Jordan, it's a little different in that I think he has to avoid disaster. Because I think they can just lean on, not for 4 playoff games, but they might be able to win a playoff game where Jordan Love throws for 125 yards.
Yeah.
And so I think that I'd be very interested if the Bears can turn him over.
Okay, I think we need another cool stat.
You want one more?
Yeah, this a little bit cooler if you have. I don't know how many you have in there.
I have one more. It's about a game that we haven't talked about yet. I think it's pretty cool, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
I can say so myself. Everyone's going to be talking Bills and Bengals about the quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
Definitely.
Yeah, that would make sense. I hope you are too.
I'm not.
Okay.
Oh,
It's actually going to come down to the rush defense, the coolest thing in the NFL. The Bengals, 31st ranked rush defense. The Bills, the 30th ranked rush defense. Can either of them stand up? I think someone earlier called this the old double must win.
Yeah.
The Bengals have rushed for 120 or more yards in 4 of their last 6 games. That coincides with when Joe Flacco took over. So if the Bengals get competent quarterback play, they also are able to run the ball. The Bills, of course, the #1 running team in the NFL. So these are 2 good running teams going up against 2 of the 3 worst rush defenses in the league. Which one do you trust more?
Yeah, I mean, this to me is a disaster stat for Cincy. Because I think the Bills have a legitimate great running attack. I think the Bengals' running attack's fine. And so I knew the Bills had a bad run defense because Wilds talks about it at every conversation on or off the air.
Yeah. The Bengals, I kind of thought it was cool.
We just knew the Bengals kind of had an overall bad defense. I didn't know it was specifically
Do
the
they,
run.
Do they, bro?
The Bengals?
Yeah. Do they have a bad defense against a good running team? You tell me.
Well, the Ravens decided not to run.
Why? Stonewall, Cincinnati.
No,
calling it. Oh my gosh!
No way.
Steel curtain.
You really believe?
No,
I said that, and you guys laughed me off the stage.
Yes.
When you said
he's still
yesterday
upset that we didn't. This.
He
Brew,
said you're in trouble, Brew.
Brew, I gotta
yesterday.
tell you.
As I was coming down the stairs for a fun hang,
Yeah.
he said you're in trouble.
I
said what?
Competitive
The
sports
Bengals,
debate.
they shut down at defense. I told you.
Brew,
I did.
He wouldn't
Brew,
have done that when the Patriots were
bad.
terrible.
I am telling you, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving show, the long tail of that, how it has impacted Wild's opinions of all of us and his takes. He was like, I was disrespected on takes I was proven correct on, and I didn't get my just due. No one came on TV the next day because we were off and said Wiles was right.
That's what's been
And
festering.
then Monday it got lost in the fog of war.
It was festering.
He's been mad all week, and you brought it back, Parko.
It's a cool stat.
I was like, I knew there's no data for it. So I pulled the Sports Illustrated headline.
He's still
and he's like,
mad.
you just pulled the Sports Illustrated headline. That's just support. That's just a. I said, I know, but someone agrees with me. It was the Bengals.
The Bengals
GC.
defense is. It was.
And they're better. better. And I go, they're like, get out of here.
Yeah.
They're like, pack your stuff up in your shared office in the league.
By the way,
I said they're good, and I was proven right.
still
No
don't
one
think
sent me a text.
They're not good.
I don't
Stats
think
shows
they're
it.
good.
Yeah, they're not
I
good.
don't think that the Bengals defense all of a sudden is.
Why didn't Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson do
Because
anything against
the
them?
Ravens are broken.
They can't run the ball?
They could. They wouldn't let him.
Why?
What did he have?
Were they
10
throwing
for
the games?
60?
He ran for a 30-yard touchdown.
What else?
Immediately.
And then the Ravens coaches said, you know what?
You know what?
They
Tearing the
solved
show
that.
apart.
They plugged that hole.
This guy. KW.
I'm telling you.
It's
The
been-
Bengals
it's been-
defense is going to win.
It's been a week now.
Yeah.
Are we okay about last
You're
week's
still
show?
mad about stuff from 5 years ago.
What?
You're
Just
mad
the
about
Matt Ryan thing. That's really inside.
He's mad about pandemic stuff.
See, I told you.
Coming up next, Cole Kmet joins the show.
That's right.
To talk about the number 1 seeded Chicago Bears. That's next on First Things First Overtime.
I know you guys are hungry for more, right? It's him. Let me tell you something. The city of Chicago's hungry too.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Joining us now on the OT, a guy I know loves it as well. Caught a touchdown in that game. Talking to this guy, knowing him for years. Tight end for the Chicago Bears, Cole Kmet. Cole, thank you very much for joining the show. I'm worried about Ben, though. If he's taking his shirt off for a regular season win over Philly, where does he go from here? I don't know what the next level is after he goes shirts off.
Yeah, dude, I'm just as curious as you are, man. So I guess we'll have to see where it goes. Thanks for having me, Danny, obviously. But what I can't believe we're working with Greg here, especially on Packer Week. This is kind of nuts to me. So, no, I'm just messing with Greg. Huge fan of yours, and thanks for having me on the show. This is great.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you addressed the elephant in the room, because I was going to ask, how does it feel looking at me, someone that you grew up probably hating? I don't want to speak for you. Just how does it feel just in this moment right now?
Well, first of all, hate's a strong word. Hate's a strong word. I think as you get into the league and you become more aware of what it is, you grow more of appreciation for all players. But that being said, yes, as a kid, I did grow up maybe hating on you a little bit. The Greg Jennings Madden video did help your cause a little bit in my household, but no, nonetheless, excited about the game this weekend, and it was always great watching you and the Bears play twice a year.
Yeah, so you can speak to this rivalry from a different perspective than a lot of us, even who has played in this rivalry. Like, I obviously was drafted by the Packers. Most guys who play in this rivalry are drafted by the team, and then they or just are on the roster, and then they're kind of thrust into this rivalry. But you, growing up in the area, being a fan from childhood, how different and unique is this rivalry for you?
Yeah, well, it's really special. I mean, like I stated earlier, watch this game multiple times a year, and it was always a big deal whenever the Bears were hosting the Packers at Soldier, or we went up there up to Lambeau, and it's really a great game to be part of now, and one I definitely don't take for granted. For me personally, my sister's boyfriend, Lucas Van Ness, plays for the Packers, so there's that family element, and then one of my best friends, Nick, who was in my wedding, is a diehard Packers fan, and I can't even get him to wear my jersey. The only time he's worn it was actually overseas in London when he came to our game last year, but that's beside the point. But yeah, no, it's a big rivalry here in my family. Got a lot of connections, and it's a lot of fun for sure.
At all disappointed in your sister? A little bit of a traitor? I don't know. I'll say it if you won't.
I mean, a little bit, right? I guess she's a traitor twice a year. So I mean, she'll root on. She'll root on for me specifically, but I don't know where her allegiance truly lies on Bears Packers game day.
Well, I can speak for your sister right now. She's with the good guys. Let's just call it what it is.
Take it, take it easy. Cole, so the shirts off thing is one thing, but like You've been in a Bear since 2020, your whole career. You've had 3 head coaches. This is an offensive transformation. It's night and day from what you guys were last year to what you are now. Can you, beyond what we see in press conferences, what is it like playing for Ben Johnson, and what makes him different than other guys that have coached you before?
Yeah, man. Well, it's been awesome. It's been a great experience so far. I think Ben, he's just so on top of everything. And, he's super detail oriented. Obviously, we've seen the intensity at times. I'm sure you guys have seen that. And, we feel that every day. But he's also able to have some fun with it too. And you see that with all the trick plays and all those type of things. So he keeps it fun in that regard. But I think really what stood out to me is just, and what's really come on along for us recently here is our run game and his passion for the run game and scheming it up and the way he installs it. It's been a lot of fun to be part of, and I think that's what has got a lot of buy-in from the guys across the board on the offense. Not just the offensive line and backs, but that migrates to the tight ends and wide receivers as well. Just him highlighting and showing the importance of everybody on a given run play. And I think that's why, we've been so successful here the past few weeks.
Cole, every year when I was in Green Bay, we seemingly drafted a receiver. And you have been one of those players that you get the deal. Obviously, you get drafted. They drafted Colston Loveland. You were a focal point in the offense. This year has been different for you. However, you're still impacting the offense in the passing game, but more importantly, you are actually killing it in the running game. Speak to what that's been like, what that adjustment has been like for you, because a lot of guys struggle when they're asked to do something that is not as exciting as pass catching.
Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment at first, but I think, credit to Ben and the coaching staff, what they do such a good job of is putting guys in positions that they're best at and doing that consistently throughout the year. And I think I felt that with myself in terms of the situations I've been put in within the run game and in the pass game as well. And then you see that across the board with everybody else. But, it's been fun, and I've been having a lot of fun winning this year and, doing whatever I got to do in order for us to get wins and get W's. And obviously that's, being a big part of the run game. And then, when the ball does come away, going to make a play. So it's been a lot of fun. And I know all the guys across the board, whether it's DJ, Rome, guys who have also been here in the past that maybe have had a little bit of adjustment as well. They're all bought in as well. And we're all about winning. And I think that's been showing up here recently.
So the running game's been super successful. Ben Johnson's clearly a truth teller. He said you guys have been winning in spite of your passing game. And I watched the full press conference. He wasn't calling out Caleb. He says, he's just one of 11, and it's about footwork and depth of target on routes and all these sorts of things. But, I guess the follow-up for me on when he said you guys are winning in spite of your passing game is, what's then realistic for the passing game the rest of this year? Is this the type of thing that we got to wait to see the passing game and you guys win because of it next year and you need an offseason? Or do you feel like you guys are close?
I personally feel like we're close, and I go back to our run game the first 3-4 weeks of the season before the bye, and we weren't ranked very highly in that regard either, and we got that thing fixed up. And I think what we saw on tape with the run game was that things were there, but we just kind of had to continue to rep it and get on the same page with it. And I think there's something to that with our pass game as well. I think you see at times things are open, and whether we don't hit it or guys aren't at the right depth, or we need to be better with our timing and getting to our landmark and our spots. Those are all things that kind of play a part in the pass game having success. And obviously it's been a few weeks here since we've had a lot of success here in the pass game. But I think you can see on tape where those opportunities are. We just got to go out there and execute on it. And, I know we're working tirelessly here to get that fixed during the course of the week of practice and the practice reps that we do get.
Cole, there's so much focus, obviously, on Caleb, and the history of that position in Chicago. Can you contextualize, where he is now versus where he was last year and where you think he ultimately can get to?
Yeah, well, obviously everyone sees all the talent, the arm talent, the ability to move out of the pocket, all those type of things. And he's had that since the moment he walked in the building here. I think from my standpoint, and I don't really keep up, I know you guys have some of the stats on the screen. I don't really look at that too much in terms of dictating how he's playing or whatever. But what I noticed from him more so from last year to this year is his operation within the huddle, getting guys lined up. And I think that's where his biggest growth has been. And I know it's a huge challenge for these guys coming from college to pro. And, they go from looking at the sideline to a picture of Kermit the Frog and relaying a play that way to now you're in a huddle, getting a play call from Ben Johnson, having to deliver it to the guys with confidence and in an effective manner, in a timely manner, get everybody lined up, recognize the defense, and then get in the right play that you gave in the huddle. So there's a lot to it, and I've seen a ton of growth from Caleb in that regard, and that's been really cool to see.
Cole, there's nothing that really galvanizes the city of Chicago quite like the Bears. What did you make of 1,000-plus people in sub-freezing weather lining up for a free $4 hot dog at the Wiener Circle? I felt like it was a perfect encapsulation of our city.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, you knew this was what was going to happen, so it seems like everyone was wearing their jackets and came prepared for the line. But, no, it's cool to see. I mean, obviously when the Bears are doing well, I remember this when I was a kid, for the times when, they'd go on win streaks or that Super Bowl year, the city's on fire, and it's a lot of fun to see the fans having a good time with it. So was glad Coach Johnson could help feed some people in Chicago this past week.
All right, well, keep proving them wrong. They were doubting you guys against Philly. You're an underdog against Green Bay. Beat those Packers, okay?
Good luck, man.
Take it down. Welcome back to First Things First. Drama in Pittsburgh, a place that we don't normally see it, coming off of a lopsided loss, 26-7, to the Bills. It wasn't just non-competitive on the scoreboard. There were boos in the stands, and they were chanting, "Fire Tomlin." Never thought you'd see the day in Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger, like many people, has a podcast, Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger. He weighed in. Take a listen.
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's a clean house time. Maybe it is. Maybe it's time. And I like Coach Tomlin. I have a lot of respect for Coach Tomlin. But maybe it's best for him too.
Sure.
Maybe a fresh start for him is what's best. Here's what you don't do. You don't fire a guy like Coach Tomlin. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's respectful. What you do is you come to an understanding and agreement. And it's like, hey, listen, I think it's probably best for both of us.
All right, Willie, that's your quarterback talking about your coach. What's your reaction?
Yeah, I think we just have to understand this is not how the Steelers operate. They don't jump to the gun and say, hey, man, just because you're going through tough times, we're going to abandon you. The Steelers, I dare to say, laugh at other organizations who are impulsive, and when it comes to dealing with a coach who's not having good fortune on their side. This is tough, right? Because I think for Ben and like other alumni that played for the Steelers, we always had to live up to the 70s Steelers, right? The Steel Curtain. There was a standard. I remember watching Franco and Mean Joe Green, those guys walk around the building and talk about what the standard is and what it means to win. And so we kind of went through that building chasing those guys. These current Steelers are chasing us. But the problem is we're not in that building. What's happening right now, the winning culture is no longer in that building. So now it relies on one man to kind of restore that, and that's Mike Tomlin. Steelers are 6-6. They're not 4-17. They're still in the heat of it. They're still kind of in the thick of it. I would challenge everybody who's passionate about the Steelers. Let's judge this whole journey at the end of the season. Jumping out there right now when they can still beat the Baltimore Ravens, when the future's still in their hands and things are still ahead of them, allow them to do their job. Mike Tomlin is a damn good coach. I'm telling you, first and foremost, you're talking about never having a losing season, working through multiple coordinators, really trying to figure himself out after the resurgence of once Ben Roethlisberger retired. It's a lot. He's been able to handle those storms. This isn't easy because we talked about it before in the show. We were sold the bill of goods that Aaron Rodgers was going to kind of be the guy to right the ship. It hasn't happened. We understand that. We also understood the defense was going to be a lot better. That hasn't happened. But this thing isn't over. So I think I'm more annoyed that everybody's kind of sensitive to the fact that this team is really trying to figure itself out. And there's still 5 games left. I would love to have this conversation at the end of the season when the season's behind us.
That's a luxury that I don't know that you could afford. I mean, it's 5 straight one-and-done playoff trips. Sure. The fans are chanting "Fire Tomlin." You would agree it's not looking good.
But it's not looking bad. Like, the Jets look bad. You know
okay,
I mean?
sure. By comparison, everyone looks good.
Right, but you're looking at a division right now that everybody looks bad. They're not out of it. You know what I mean? So I'm not ready to give up on the season solely because they've suffered losses to teams that are playoff-bound teams.
Yeah, Willie, what I would argue is, but when you've said what the standard is and you're in the business of winning, and that's not happening when you need to win at its best at the most important time, which is the postseason, and you just alluded to those numbers, then it's not cutting it. And I think Ben, and it's tough. Anytime you're a former player and you make these comments about an organization that you got drafted into and that you spent a lot of your time in, they expect you to just always kind of go with the flow and go upstream. But he's right. Like,
in what regard?
In the regard of, you don't just fire him. If you are to explore this,
well, I'll tell you this right now. Mike Tomlin will have to fire himself. They're never going to fire Mike Tomlin.
And that may be the
that's what the rest
case.
of the world needs to understand.
But this is going to be a discussion because they're not winning when it matters most. Like, the standard is the standard. What does that mean? And forget what does it mean. What does it look like? Because right now, this is a 500 team that is on the brink of, they had the division in their grasp.
Like, had an ugly loss to the Bengals in Cincinnati.
They can control their own destiny, but it just doesn't feel like the messaging that he has always been able to pierce through in that locker room, and then we see it on the field in translation. That's not happening week after week.
So let me ask you guys this. The Bears ended up hiring Ben Johnson, but there was a report that the Bears, they tried to get creative with their coaching search. They wanted to cast a very wide net. And they called the Pittsburgh Steelers and asked if trading Mike Tomlin was an option, because coaches can be traded. And the Steelers shut it down pretty quickly. But it got out that the Bears and at least one other team had reached out to the Steelers. Mike Tomlin is asked about it. It was revealed then that he has a no-trade clause. Right. But coaches have been traded. Mm-hmm. Great coaches have been traded. Just a couple of them. Like Sean Payton in 2023 was traded for a first and a second-round pick. The Patriots traded a first, a fourth, and a fifth for Bill Belichick back in 2000. John Gruden was traded for 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Like, if I told you sometimes it's just best if we part ways. Andy Reid in Philadelphia. We see it across. Bill Walsh used to talk about the rule of 10. 10 years, and then you need a new voice, and things need to change over. I saw it with Theo Epstein in the Chicago Cubs. He was like, you know what? I thought I was going to give you 10. I got out after 9. It just got a little stale. It was time for us to part ways. If it happened, and I know it would be crazy for it to happen in a division. I understand that. But if the Ravens said, you can have our first-round pick, and then Mike Tomlin went to Baltimore. If next year the Ravens had Lamar Jackson and Mike Tomlin, we would think that team would be dangerous. If the Cincinnati Bengals, another team with the quarterback, and I know it's in division, so it would be tough, but the Philadelphia Eagles, if they moved on from Nick Sirianni, because the culture is bad in Philadelphia, and you bring in Mike Tomlin, who always wins and gives you a culture, because if you give that guy a quarterback, I believe that he can still win. But without a quarterback, he's too good of a coach for you to have too bad of a record to draft a great quarterback. So it feels to me like they're just in this cycle of 9 wins. We have to draft Kenny Pickett or get a stopgap with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what the way out is if you just keep doing this.
I mean, that's the ultimate struggle. The Steelers are in that mix of being stable but stagnant, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reality. But we also have to understand Mike Tomlin's the floor. Right, he is the guy they trust and believe in. And it's just not about wins and losses in Pittsburgh. It's about the culture. It's about being behind the curtain, watching how they kind of construct this roster and how they continue to build this organization up. I also believe that the Steelers really believe that Mike Tomlin is their guy. And it doesn't look like it. And Greg, you gave all the reasons why, there's murky water right now. But they're not going to just hand over a blue blood historic organization to anybody. They held on to Chuck Noll for 23 years.
Totally
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bill Cowher forever.
This is not what they do. So it may look different for everybody else, but the Steelers march to their own drum. This is why I believe eventually they're going to get it right. It's been hard for other organizations to survive or kind of last, especially when their marquee quarterback retires or leave, right? Teams go through these periods. This is just a rough period for the Steelers. I don't think this is a Mike Tomlin situation. I think it's a situation where they have to, one, get a quarterback who they can believe in for the next 5 to 10 years and right this ship. I don't know who that quarterback is, but it's eventually going to happen. You just got to go through these tough times.
Well, Ben played a role into why the Steelers are in this situation, because I believe he overstayed his welcome. Mike Tomlin, whether he had a part in wanting to get rid of Ben or not, the reason why they're in this situation is because not just solely Ben, But him overstaying his welcome and obviously them acquiring other picks to where they would have been a lesser team in some of those years.
Yeah.
But they opted to let's build our roster up a little bit and then meet the floor. So this is the one thing I will say. Mike Tomlin talks about don't blink.
What?
This is a moment where he better not blink, and I don't think he will.
But he's never blinked.
I don't believe he will.
He could have blinked after Ben left, and it never happened.
I totally
he went to the
get
playoff
that.
with Duck Hodges.
But this is a situation.
And lost.
This is a
Well,
situation.
went to the playoffs. We
This
didn't
is
even
a
know who Duck Hodges
situation where
was.
if they are to lose this week, man, these topics, this topic in particularly, is going to be everywhere. Like the noise is going to continuously get louder and louder.
To me, this is the NFL. You're going to go through periods of like this where you have to pretty much show up and show out. Bottom line. So I don't think he's going to waver. I don't think this team is going to waver. The tape doesn't look good over the last 2 weeks. Everything's real. But this is where you expect Mike Tomlin to show up. And he hasn't given anybody at this desk reason that he won't show up and get this team ready to go.
Okay, but let's go down that road. Best case scenario, they win the division, right? That's the best. That's
Win and you in.
Win and you're in.
Yeah.
But let's then assume that they're not going to make a run because they don't look great right now. Like
They said that in 05. There was a wild card and beat the Denver Broncos, went all the way to the Super Bowl.
Willie, that was 20 years ago.
Man. But my point is, we can't choose when we want to lean on history and then say, oh, well, that happened way back then. That happened with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It could happen again.
Okay.
You have a 41-year-old quarterback who's a 4-time MVP.
And
if Aaron
if it
Rodgers gets
doesn't,
hot,
and
if Aaron
if it
Rodgers
doesn't.
gets hot, it's a different story.
Yes, if that's a big if. If is carrying a heavy load in that sentence.
Yes, it is.
We'll talk Chiefs dynasty.
You
and
guys
then
don't have
some
to
next.
believe. I will.
You can believe. Time now for first things last. The Kansas City Chiefs are a paradox. They are a good team with a mediocre record. In fact, I think they are better than last year's 15-2 team that made it to the Super Bowl. But I also think, and the odds agree, and all signs point to the fact that they are going to miss the playoffs. So what's the case that a pedestrian 6-6 team is good? Well, on the offensive side of the ball, the Chiefs are 9th in points and 5th in yards per game. Those would both be Kansas City's best since 2022. Patrick Mahomes is also captaining the second best passing offense in all of football. On the defensive side, they allow 19.3 points per game, good for 7th in the league, and that total is virtually identical to last year's 19.2 points per game allowed. Their point differential is 7th best in the NFL. That means the 6-win Chiefs rank better in that normally predictive metric than the 8-win Packers, the 9-win Bears, and the 10-win Broncos. Again, the Chiefs have 6 wins. To put their plus 73 differential into context against recent Chiefs teams, last year's team, that was 15-2, only outscored opponents by 59 points. Simply put, last year's record probably should have been worse. But this year's record should be better than it is. So why hasn't it been? Last year, the Chiefs were an absurd 12-0 in one-score games. This year, 1-6. Other underlying situational data like third down defense, a limited number of takeaways, and a low ceiling rushing attack certainly contribute to the problems. But the bones of the team still resemble past AFC and Super Bowl champions, which is why no one would want to play them if they ran the table and made the playoffs. It's also why any talk of the dynasty being over is silly and premature. Even if they do miss the playoffs, they should and will enter next season as one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. That's all I've got. Thank you so much for being with us on First Things First. We're back tomorrow.